evening. Welcome to Poker Night Live, the live interactive Texas Hold'em show, giving you the insider tips on how to beat those internet Texas Hold'em games. Myself, Dr. Tom, and James Browning in the studio tonight, waiting for your texts and emails. So why not get in touch with us here in the studio? We're here right through till 2 o'clock in the morning. There are two ways that you can do it. You can text us here by texting poker and your poker question to 84222. Text costs £1 for 4, or you can email us here at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. As I say, it is fully live here in the studio, and I think it's time for James to take us round the poker tables.
A jolly good idea, Doctor. Well, we're kicking off tonight with a $5 sit and go.
How do you know?
I just have a feeling it's a full table. We're at the first level, and Bongo Bill seems to have got off to a good start in the tournament.
He's a corker of a player, isn't he?
Yes, well, who do you want to pick anyway? I'm having Bongo Bill, and you?
Preston Pete.
Preston Pete, okay, we'll see what happens in that one.
Do you think we've got any other tables as thrilling as that one?
Well, I'll try another one for you.
Okay.
We'll have a look at the $10 sit and go. Well, he's only playing one tournament, Bongo Bill, anyway, unless he's got knocked out of this one, of course. Second level there, lost one player already. Chuckle, that's a good name for the night. And a cash game, 25 50-cent cash game. I think the last time we won, we sort of had a $100, $200, no limit, wasn't it? Anyway, green, there we have multi-table tournament time, but it's a special multi-table tournament tonight. In fact, it's a Poker Bowl qualifier tonight, where 10 people proceed to the semi-finals. And this is actually buy-ins tonight, so we'll have a little talk about that.
Lovely jubbly, there you go. It's all live poker there. As you can see the whole cards on Poker Night Live, which is why it's such a great poker educational experience, and of course entertaining. It's all real stakes, and you get the expert commentary of myself and James Browning throughout the night. Don't forget, it is fully interactive, so keep those texts and emails coming. But let's take ourselves down now to that multi-table tourney.
And here we are. And I believe there's actually only 33 runners tonight, so a very good chance for people to get into the semis here, Tom.
Top 10 get to the semis.
Exactly. We should have been in it. We could have had a chance tonight.
You see this every night. We watch these great value tourneys and we're stuck in here, you know. I mean, I don't know, you're getting paid, James, but I think I'm getting more value from staying at home and sitting down in the tourneys.
Exactly. We're being teased by them, aren't we?
So top 10, it's a flat prize structure. Top 10 get that semi-final seat. And I'll be looking forward to having a look at the bubble stage in this tournament, see how they play it.
Yes, very interesting. Tom's referring to, of course, when we get down to... actually, the bubble stage really sort of starts earlier, really, doesn't it? Okay, technically it's 11, but I think that bubble stage sort of kicks in probably 14.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's an interesting question there because, of course, just scraping into the prize money is fine in this, but if you start thinking about the bubble in a real tourney, 4 off the money, then you're going to do your chips and get a small place if you get anything.
That's right. So... it's in any type of tournament like this, you can get different types of tournament. I think Tom earlier on we were just discussing, I said he sort of like this is a Grand Prix sort of format. Other ways where you go for sort of certain number of prizes will be like a satellite tournament, where the money you pay will be going towards entry to a higher stake tournament. And you won't know how many seats there are, especially not in a buy-in event, until obviously all the buy-ins and add-ons have been completed. Then once the sum of money has been totted up, they'll be able to tell you how many seats are going to be available to be won in that satellite tournament. And the way they do it, they might say, oh, there's 7 seats and there's a bit of money left over, so that will go to 8th prize. So you now know there's 8 prizes, which is 7 seats for this more expensive tournament, plus a cash sum for the person who comes 8th, which wasn't quite enough to pay for a seat. But those sort of tournaments do have a different... tactics to them.
Very much so.
And one of the interesting tactics where the things change, it could be the actual tournament where it's correct to throw away a pair of aces pre-flop.
Yep.
One of the few occasions in poker i.e. if you were just a runaway leader of the tournament, it's probably correct for you just to chuck them away, because it's likely you can just cruise into that seat without any contention, and any risk you made to your chips would actually be decreasing your chances, not increasing your chances, or decreasing your chances more than it was increasing them. So, and basically it's quite easy, because in that case it would be a pair of aces against random hand even. Well, even in that situation, the pair of aces is probably only worth about 92% against a random hand. And so now you've got to evaluate whether it's correct to play on that premise. If at that stage you were 95% to capture your seat, it wouldn't be correct risking chips when you're only 92%.
And of course, you don't know whether you're 95%, but you've got to be in the business of making that kind of judgment.
Yeah, you don't. Well, except you could have such an astounding lead. You could say, well, I'm at least. You'd be a situation where you'd say, my goodness, I'm at least 95%. I might even be more. I mean, but yes, but generally you have to make that evaluation. Yeah. So, but interesting, sort of interesting variant on the game there, where it could be correct to throw away aces.
Well, we're not just trying to be clever here. I mean, you really should chuck those aces. If you've got a big chip lead, by all means, bet them. But in a situation where you're dealt a big pair like aces and a small stack goes all in and a big stack that can damage you comes over the top, you've got to chuck the aces if you've got a decent stack. Let him fight it, because he can take you out.
And actually, to follow this up even more, let's forget about the aces, but now let's look at things like, oh, ace-queen suited. Ace-queen suited? Chuck it in the bin. What do you want to get involved with that for when you're up in one of the top 3 places even? You don't want to be involved necessarily in this. You want to, in fact, also pick your opponents. If you are going to fight, well, fight the guy who hasn't got anything, and when you've got a jolly good hand. Now, altogether, this isn't too bad a package, because probably you might be the one who knocks him out and then captures everyone the seat, for example. But you really pick your fights. And in fact, you leave it to the people who are all scrambling for the seat. They have to do the work. They have to find a way to survive.
However, at this stage of the tourney, it's basically like any other tournament. You've got to have a whole lot of chips to be able to be playing that waiting game near the bubble. So you might as well start accumulating them now.
But again, I believe your play shouldn't be too distorted from normal, because still, any pre-flop raise is still only in relation to the size of the blinds. Basically, there's no point trying to pinch blinds when they're 75 and risk an amazing amount of money to do it, because your risk-reward ratio is just out of kilter. So that's no good. So basically, in the early stages, it's very much like an ordinary tournament. Also, it's your size of stack of chips in relation to the size of the blinds, which indicates how much play you've got. Can you afford to limp in? And if you connect, have you got a big enough stack to, in relation to the blinds, to benefit from it? So your choice of play is still determined by the regular factors.
Trip falls here, unfortunately, won't get paid because of that ace bogeyman in the middle there. Everyone's running away from that.
Victoria Jane under the gun decides to limp. Geordie raises with the king-queen from the cutoff.
And I quite like that raise. If he gets called, he has to start to wonder whether Victoria Jane is being cute with it, but he's expecting a fold, I think. I think he might be surprised by that call. Oh dear. 4-7-5 in the pot. Victoria might well take a view and say these are overcards she's got, not a bigger pocket pair. And she may as well move all in if she's going to play it. Do you think she's prepared to fold to a raise? Looks like it. No? She's trying to trap
who? Victoria?
Victoria Jane.
No, she won't fold now. She's committed too much of her chips. I'm sure.
She's let him draw cheaply to overcards, if that's...
I think that was... She just gave her strength. I think she was determined that top pair was the case. Interesting to see that I wouldn't have lost as much money in that pot, because my king-queen rule would have come in.
Indeed, indeed,
and I'd have probably limped in position, and...
there you go.
Saved a bit of money.
7-8 offsuit versus the kings. Well, we know which Mark Bannon will choose.
Yep, and Tom and I have got the kings, so we win that one.
But of course, that's because Victoria Jane doesn't have the Bannon 7-8
Magic.
super pack.
We haven't practiced it enough, actually.
Which?
The 7-8 offsuit.
I don't practice it much.
No, that's right. So obviously practice makes perfect.
Oh, limp, 10 queen off. How limp is that? Very limp indeed. There's only 5 people at this table. Raise or fold, sir?
Well, straightforward. Hit the flop and bet it. Here's Geordie on the small blind, doesn't fancy that. Hoik there, very happy just to take the blinds with that hand. Jolly good, he says. Hoik from Wallsend, Tom.
Wallsend?
Yes.
How do you know?
Oh, well, he's communicated with the show before. It's very interactive.
Mm.
Yes, he's a fellow Geordie. Well, trip 2's for Pustash. And the SAS are betting into it.
A value bet in order? Yes, he goes for the value bet. Not daunted by the straightening and flushing cards, sir.
Tell you what, Pustash is in good shape now with 8,400 at this stage in the tourney. Very nice start. Blinds are 25.50. I think we'll see something from Swinger here. It's a flat raise up to 100. And Pustash with the stack there calls it, and ping hit that 10. Now, is he going to bet into it, or is he going to try something cuter? He's trying something cuter. It's a check raise he's going for, I believe. Let's see if it's right. Oh no, it's a check call. Not as impressive.
Well, if he gets a load of money out of Swinger here on the turn, he'll have played it nicely, but it's a dangerous way to play it, isn't it, James, with a small pair like that?
Yes, I don't mind him going for the check raise.
Yeah,
I think that's better than betting out there. I think if he really felt he was ahead, but I think he's overplayed it slightly, letting him have another draw. I think check, let him bet, raise, and now you've captured that money you wouldn't have got, because you wouldn't have got the money if he'd bet out. So I think that was enough.
I think he's underplayed it. He seems to be nervous. He didn't spring a trap, so it looks like he wasn't laying a trap. He didn't like his 10 too much, which is strange. But.
Yeah, because as soon as he checked it, I thought, oh wow, he's gonna snare Swinger. As it happens, he actually did get a few more chips from it, but not without the risk.
Do we know how many chips these boys started with? Because I'd like to calculate the number of chips in play and then calculate the number of chips you probably need approaching the bubble to get through the bubble and get a seat. 2,000 or 1,500?
You're going to have a problem, though, because we don't know how many rebuys they've had.
Of course you're right, James. Of course you're right.
So I believe they started with 1,500, but we don't know how many rebuys.
If we could get any information from our extensive backup team about the number of chips in play, that would be very useful.
Yes.
And indeed, if the rebuy period has ended.
And add-ons as well we need to find out about.
Well, the information I'm getting is that we're still in the rebuy period. We've got 15 minutes left, so we don't yet have a final chip count from which to draw inferences about what you will probably need to coast reasonably safely into the money, around about the bubble.
He said there's about 200,000 chips in play at the moment, so...
That's a lot of rebuys, 33 runners.
So we're looking now at an average of over 6,000 chips. Which, I'm not sure that seems quite right, because with only one person above average at the table, but still... We'll probably need to let these rebuys settle down to find exactly the state of play. Pustash there, he's got the top pair and he's against the jacks and he bets 450 and the jacks does not let go, and Oh my goodness, the jacks really... there's no need for the jacks to lose all his chips there at all.
He's gone.
That was very strange play. And I think that is the problem. I think that was over-adventurous play because of it being a rebuy.
Mm-hmm.
Just had no respect at all for the bet. Just stuck with a pair of jacks against the king on board. Pustache had done everything to represent that he had the king, and he just stuck stubbornly to putting his money in with the jacks. I think purely because he could rebuy again next time.
And this is why I love rebuy tournaments, James.
Because people
do that.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
And they tend to be oblivious to value.
Yeah. They're looking to play and get an hour's worth of play and build a big stack, however much it costs them, so that they can get in the money. Doesn't matter in the long run they're going to lose money. They just want to get that money place.
Now, I believe it's fine to have a happy medium there, and I think you can actually play a little bit more adventurously in a rebuy period. I think you can try and get in late position with probably more cards, try to catch some big pots, and say, well, okay, I don't mind having a few rebuys, but try to really capture some chips that way, but not just ignore everything else, which you should normally take notice of in poker. And that's a case, that's an example which I think is really bad. This is not a big hand, he's got one pair, and there's no overcard on the board. Why be so stubborn about it? I would be looking to, you know, get in for... If it was a family pot, I'd want to be getting there with sort of quite a few suited connectors or whatever, trying to ping a big pot. I'm happy to do that when there's value, but it would have to still be value for me. But in the play he did, I think there was no value in that play. It was just... he was just praying that the guy was, for some reason, making a move on him.
Pustache up and up then. Minimum bet with the ace-jack off in a six-handed table. Ace-jack's not a bad hand.
Swing is there again. We'll see what he does this time. Is he going to try regardless to win this or not? No. No, he's calmed down. So when you enter a rebuy tournament, if you play sort of very solidly, of course you aren't going to win as many tournaments.
Yeah, I think even if you play very solid, you might win less money than you would if you played a little less sort of, should we say, conservatively. I think you have to loosen up a bit.
So you quite like the idea of playing in late position with suited connectors in a family pot and stuff like that to try and capture a big pot?
I'll alter my strategy in a rebuy tournament only as far as other people are altering theirs.
Right.
And generally that means if they're playing with poor aces, I'll play with slightly poorer aces than I normally would. That sort of thing.
Okay, where you still think you've got the edge on their hands, basically.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
That's a very good way of looking at it.
And the other good thing about that strategy, I mean, if I'm playing a cheap rebuy tournament, and I can see what people are playing, and I'm happy to go in with ace-10 suited and a three-way pot because I think I've got pot odds from what's going to be shown down when all the chips are in the middle. It's great because then when the rebuy period is over, some of those players will wrongly think, oh, this guy plays ace-10 suited, he thinks it's a great hand.
Yes.
Not so, because everyone tightens up in the freeze-out period. Now I've tightened up, but some of them have failed to realise that I'm playing proper aces now.
So actually that's gone in your favour again. And it's a matter of changing gears in a rebuy tournament and to be able to do that. And as Tom says there, this can have great deceptive powers.
And people who try to play a rebuy tournament like it's a freeze-out and try to, you know, play solid values and huff and puff when their hands get outdrawn because they're in a four-way pot with ace-king or pair of queens. And they make me laugh, James, because they think they're playing great poker and they think they're getting unlucky, but they fail to adjust the game to the reality of the situation, which is, you know, you're probably going to have to rebuy in these tournaments, and as long as you're going into a pot where you've got pot odds 3 or 4 times in a row, you're probably going to be shown an expectation. But if you save up your chips for one big move with queens, and then, as I say, get outdrawn and think that you were incredibly unlucky and then get in your car and drive home, why play rebuys? You should be playing freeze-outs.
Yeah. Because that's right, it's going to be it's not the same as later. I mean, it's going to be difficult to thin the field.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And when people have got a smaller stack there, they say, oh, well, I might as well chuck this in here now, see if I can just treble up.
You see the quadruple straddle
Yeah.
in a rebuy tournament, for
Yeah.
example. You don't see that in the World Series.
No. I will play quite trappy in a rebuy though as well.
Looking to get all your chips in.
Oh yes.
Yeah, with the best.
Yes. So I'll have a big hand, and I'll risk it being outdrawn, and I'll play it quite trappily, just hoping that someone's going to make a bit of a move because they're chirpy anyway. Because generally people are chirpier than normal anyway.
Yeah,
and so one of the things you've got to look for if you're going to play a trappy type of play is there anyone here likely to make a move? And that's one of the things you have to look for. Basically, just limping in early position with a big pair. You should only be doing this if you think someone is capable of betting. Otherwise, you could just end up in a normal game against 6 people and go, oh goodness, no one even raised. But in a rebuy period, it's quite likely someone's going to raise it up, etc., etc. So you can make these plays more often. And you can look for the re-raise again before the flop or whatever even, and then at least create big pots with big hands. But what about if you have the fortune now, Tom, in your rebuy, to quadruple up in the early stages? You're in your rebuy tournament, everything's gone nicely, you've clicked your trips, you've actually slow played it, the rest of the pot came in, ping, you've got the lot, you've quadrupled up or more. Mm-hmm. What do you do now? Does this affect your play in this rebuy tournament?
No, I'm just looking again to play pots that give me value. Makes no difference. I'm such a long way away from the money that I'm looking to exploit maximum value from this rebuy period, because in a rebuy tournament, if I play brilliant poker in the freeze-out period, I still think my expectation is worse than if I just play sensible, sort of adjusted to the reality of the situation, poker the rebuy period. So by then tightening up in the rebuy period when I've got a big stack of chips and saying I'm going to save these and play well in the freeze-out period, I don't believe I have as much value as going into pots with reasonable hands against now albeit small stacks in the rebuy period.
Right, what I'm feeling for is, do you think that there is a multiple of your starting chips, which is basically your target in a rebuy tournament, where in fact you should eventually now say, I've achieved a very respectable target for this rebuy tournament, now I can really tighten up. I'll still play now, but I will want a bigger advantage because I should be happy with where I am.
Absolutely not, no, because I'm simply throwing away value in that situation by saying I've got chips, I don't have to risk them. In the end, I've got to win all the chips in the tournament. So if I've got big value, big expectation in the rebuy period because of the way people are playing, I'm going to carry on getting myself involved with those people in this high variance situation because I've got the expectation there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right, we're going to go down now to a cash game. 25-cent, 50-cent cash. Not all about tournaments tonight, so let's see how those boys are getting on. I think I might have seen Duff Miver 69. Yes, there he is in seat 1.
Yes, a regular, and there's Johan Harren as well, who last night did a rare overplay of a hand.
What's that, James?
Johan last night did a rare, he did a really quite cute move, and then he really overplayed one hand, which is unusual for him.
He's been making some very big overbets recently, Mr.
Oh,
Harren.
he has? Ah.
And getting paid on many occasions, actually.
Okay, well, he did his stack with it last night, so
well.
maybe it was just returning some of his profits. So 25 cent, 50 cent, maximum buy-in is $50, minimum buy-in is $5. Ooh, and John Boy says, don't think you got an ace, I'd have heard from you earlier, i.e. before the flop. Doubt you've got a 3 either, I'm betting. Read it well, I suppose.
No, he has got an ace. Funny old game poker, isn't it?
There's been a raise from Catman with the 10 queen.
Always cool, and that's a loose call. In terrible danger there of being dominated, possibly up against, who knows, aces, kings.
And what's worse for him is he actually hit his queen.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling he mightn't let it go. Oh, he did. Well done.
It really is a very poor call there, because furthermore, John Boy Rebel is probably going to bet the flop in a range of situations. Catman won't have a clue where he is. He's got to catch two pair.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's always a bit of a bad sign when you hit your top card and have to pass.
Yeah.
Which is just what we've seen happen.
Yeah, and he was lucky that the ace
Queen
was on the
10.
board.
Yeah, if you hit your queen, oh, jolly good, pass. Never a great sign. King 3-4. Pool 8 has got the 3. That's 50 cents.
Huge.
One big blind.
Seven, 8 off.
Raised it up.
What a monster. There it is. There is the power of the 7, 8 off, by which I mean you don't want to see a flop with it. Oh, he's got the up and downer.
I prefer Catman's queen this time.
Well, we're going to have action here. That queen needs to be defended by a check raise.
Can't see it with that small kicker, but here we go. Yes, well done, Catman.
And let's have a look at the odds here. 7 into a pot of 17.25. Well, he's not getting odds to catch it on the next card. The clubs are a slight worry.
And he's got to bear in mind that on the next card it's going to be even more expensive, presumably.
He's hoping to either get the river card for free or get some implied odds if he does catch. That's the only way he can countenance that call. And,
but it's bet 16.50. He's not giving him odds.
No. And even if you could guarantee the last 11 going in when that Catman has, when PUFC catches a straight, if he does, I don't know if he's getting odds there either. It's certainly pretty marginal. And of course he has no such guarantee that he will get all of Catman's money. Or indeed that a straight will be good with a pair on the board.
So the question was, when he called initially, did he have enough implied odds on that first call?
Well, if Catman checks the turn, then Catman's got a whole load of chips left on the right side of the line as far as PUFC is concerned to get him to pay once he makes a straight. But there's no guarantee of that.
But I'd have thought he was a big favourite not to be checking the turn, because the reason is he'd actually done a check raise with his hand initially. So I think a check on the turn is out the window now.
Yeah, you're right.
If he'd played it more passively earlier, then I think the chances of a check on the turn become higher, but not from the guy who's just check raised me. I think I'd say, well, there's no way am I getting a free card on the turn. But what I'm saying is, if he'd actually managed to ping his straight away, what could he get paid then? That's the question, isn't it? That's whether that first decision of his was right or not. I think it looks like a very grey area to me, and I think it was an incorrect call initially, probably.
Yeah, I think
against a check raiser.
If you sit down and do the sums, given that Catman, obviously given that PUFC may not make the straight, but even if he does, look at the implied odds, given that Catman may not pay him and may have a better hand than the straight when all the money goes in, that massively undermines PUFC's implied odds, because he doesn't always win all the chips that he gets himself all in with when he's got that straight. So yeah, I think he could have let it go.
I think the problem is that when players do play connectors and they do get a draw, I think they rarely put it down.
Yeah.
I don't think the odds become an issue. I just think, oh, up and down straight, I've got it. And I think they forget to look at the odds.
You're right. You're absolutely. They think they deserve to make the hand. It's so alluring.
Yes, I've got it.
And how often do we see this in card room? People moaning about their luck when their draw
I can't hit a flush all night.
doesn't make a hand against
Tom,
the made
I never
hand.
made the flush against you.
So unlucky, they say.
It's just a joke. Your pairs stand up all the time.
It's true.
But we do hear that, don't we?
We do, and it's not when they've missed a draw all night. It's when they miss the first draw of the night they're moaning about their luck. Remember, a draw is a draw. You need to get lucky to make it.
Yeah, if you've got a flush draw, which is 9 outs as opposed to the straight 8 outs, you're only 35% to make your flush in 2 cards. That means 65% of the time you don't make it.
You're going to get unlucky 65% of the time.
Yeah. But anyway, the moral of the story is don't just look and say, oh yes, I've got the draw. Really stop. Don't get overexcited with that and just still now reassess the situation. And then somewhere along the line, when you come to the stage where you say, yep, I've got my draw, however, I haven't got value to proceed any further. Pass. Now, when you've reached that stage, you've really taken a good step forward in poker, I believe. John Boy, Cowboys. Flush draw for Catman. It's not there. King Kong rules. And that's John Boy Rebel up to $158.67 with at a 25-cent, 50-cent table. Considering the maximum buying is $50, that looks pretty healthy to me. What do you reckon, Tom?
Who knows whether he's ahead or behind for the night, but yeah, as far as we know, he's a good player, John Boy Rebel, isn't he? He's often sitting on a big stack.
Yeah. Well, I would guess he's ahead. I mean, if we look at the rest of the players there, it doesn't look like anyone else is... winning a huge amount. 10-4-6. Nuthead 6 deuce. And Johan there is isn't believed. So now what is Nuthead going to do? I like calling him Nuthead rather than NT. Johan tries again and succeeds. He fired 2 bullets. And it took 2 bullets to win.
Now, is Johan's betting behaviour going to dissuade John Boy from nicking his big blind? The answer is no.
John Boy on the cut-off there. He's made it 4 times the big blind with Jack Queen offsuit. And is quite happy to capture both blinds.
And one of the as it were, side, well, marginal extra benefits of being an aggressive player is that even though, say you're basically aggressive in your bets, you don't call big bets with a view to making a move later, you basically bet a lot and then fold a lot. So you're a classic tight aggressive player. People are still less inclined to nick your big blind if you act like that. Even though, on the face of it, given you're a tight aggressive, you should be more happy to let it go. So you only need to make a few, as it were, slightly crazy plays to get your big blind nicked a lot less often.
Of course, the other plus point is that by making those raises with some different hands, which will be shown at times, when you've got a good hand and you're raising, you're more likely to make some money with it.
Yep.
And that's one of the really big positive things about it. Wow, John Boy's cranked it up with Jack 9 now, and Johan there has got position. He's on the button. He passes the King Queen. I can't object to that.
I can't either, no.
So I would have done the same, even though we could see it was Jack 9. If I could see it, it would be different, obviously. But I would have passed it because I wouldn't have known where I was if a Queen or a King came.
Connector City here, 8, 9, 10 Jack, 5, 6, 7, 8. They've got each other. They've got one big straight between them.
Which is not good news for them, really. Because one of the plus points about their hands is making straight.
Catman's made a great raise. The ace comes down, and all the aces are live. We're going to see an ace on the flop, and he'll take it with a bluff.
And there's a bit of money in the pot there, isn't there, really?
Oh, lovely.
Wow. You can't get better value with a 5-2 than that.
And it looks crazy, but Catman's absolutely correctly read the situation. You can see that they're all limping in for some implied odds there. If anyone has a genuine hand, once a couple of people call, or one person calls, then they're going to be raising, not limping.
Yes, I did a sweet move like that in Slovenia, actually.
Ah, so you made the money in Slovenia. Congratulations, James.
Yes, but it was. Yes, I did. It was a frustrating tournament, Tom. The structure was just...
Too fast?
Oh, terrible.
In a hurry to get you to the craps table?
Well, no, I'll tell you what, the place was great, and the people were very friendly. I mean, they picked you up. I flew to Treviso in Venice, which was like an hour and a half away. They picked me up at the airport, they took me back. The hotel was beautiful. They put dinners on for the players every day, which were great. The atmosphere of the dinners were great. I mean, real good camaraderie amongst the players, because it was a buffet, but really good quality, so we were all mixing together. Fantastic atmosphere. I mean, nothing, but the structures. The only thing, the structures, which is probably the most important thing when you go to a tournament, were dreadful. And whenever they brought in a running ante...
Sorry, James, let's have a look at this.
Oh, yes.
Quads against a house here.
Oh, my goodness. Quad fives against, of course, a house of aces. And Johan's going to get cooked, I'm afraid. And he immediately rebuys. There he is, his ace-queen, gave him full house aces, but... 4 fives. What a monster. What a great card for the fives that ace was on the river.
Do you think the big move there, Jans thinks is just a ghost of a chance that he'll push someone off a split? Because, I mean, on the face of it,
yes.
He only gets called by quads or a split.
Yes.
And a split's going to call him, I think, normally, isn't it? I mean, although it's hard to read the guy for quads, what is he going to call with, apart from a split or quads?
Yes, I don't think he necessarily gave that the full thought that it deserved. Maybe it's sometimes it looks like a flashy sort of play just to do that. I think maybe just hope he's had experiences of people with crazy hands calling him, I presume.
I guess he thinks quads are so unlikely that compared to all the possibilities that someone just might have a sort of weird aneurysm and call with junk, you know.
Or they'd had the lower trips.
Yeah, for example, yeah. 5.
And then they call him with that reluctantly. So he must have had experiences that he gets paid more times than that than running into quads, I presume.
And he may be right, in fairness.
So, yeah, going back to the structure, whenever they brought in the running ante, it went crazy. And I'll give you an example. The blinds one time were 300, 600. So each round was costing you 900. And then the next round was 400, 800 with a running ante of 100.
It's crazy. You do one or the other. You increase the blinds or you put in a running ante.
Yeah, and they did both at the same time. So we went from a round of 900 to a round of 2,100. And in that final, I was second chip leader, okay, and I had 2 rounds of play. The blinds were 15,000, 30,000, and a running ante of 3,000. So each round there was 5 of us left. Each round was going to cost us 60,000, and I had 120,000 chips. Well, how frustrating is that? I was lucky, and I got a pair of jacks. So no prize for guessing what I did. I obviously just pushed it all in, and was called by ace-queen, and I think quite correctly called by ace-queen, because he's in the same situation, basically. He's got no time left, and he hit the queen.
So a bit like a £20 rebuy tournament scenario you get down at Luton. Catman here. Aces are not in great shape here because of the flush draw. Not as far ahead as he probably thinks he is. And Pigeon not getting odds to draw, bar the implied odds, which he certainly has. Catman takes it down. Ah, well.
So it became more frustrating because I actually made the latter stages of every tournament, but kept on getting cooked by having to push, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I did enjoy Slovenia, and they had a gorgeous mountain next to the hotel where I was staying. Have you been?
No. On the river, no aces. Two players got ace in their hands, and I think it's going to be the first two bets. Or in Preston. It's interesting though, James. Does he know he's got to bluff there? Because if on the logic of it, he's going to get called by a pair, and the only hands he can push out are a very small range of higher aces. If it works, it's a great bet. But has he exactly read Preston United for a bigger ace and bluffed him out, or is it a value bet? What's going on there?
Yeah, I think he just believes that no, he hasn't connected with the flop. I think he actually thinks that he's. I think he might think he is. I think he is probably maybe fighting off an ace. I think he maybe is possibly trying to push him off.
Yeah, you get that situation. It looks like a slightly lame play when you've just got the ace on the river and you bet it. But the truth is that if you're certain your opponent hasn't connected, most of the time when you bet, he'll fold a load of rubbish and the bet has no value. But some of the time, you are going to push out a bigger ace. So every now and then, you need that bet. And if you're certain your opponent hasn't connected, then you're perfectly justified in making it.
Yeah, you could push out the same hand as well as another. Wow, look at this. What is good? Now the real hand bets. Now Johan obviously, presumably can't do anything, or is he going to represent? Difficult because he checked the time before. Initially he tried something, but it would have been difficult to represent there. If there had been betting on the turn, it would have been a different thing. John Boyd has a flat raise, that's up to $1 with the Jack-10 suited. Called by Pigeonhead, pair of fives. Pool 8 says no thanks, and Posh unimaginable call, he does. And look at this, he's got a nut flush draw. He's got the ace of diamonds in his hand. Also got a backdoor straight draw, he bets 150. And also probably presumes his ace will win as well. Pigeonhead there has got a flush draw and a pair of fives and now raises. Now what's Posh going to do? Sorry, Tom?
Carry on, James.
12.25 in the middle, and he's put a little sort of slowing down bet in there, I think. That's what his idea was there.
A blocker.
Yeah, a blocker.
I just realised I called him Preston United, but it's Preston North End, isn't it? So he must be Portsmouth United. Man in seat 8.
No, he's he's the Peterhead.
Ah.
Peterborough, rather. He's the Posh.
Oh. Okay.
Peterborough.
I'll take it all back. He's happy to raise, big raises with marginal hands. And the trouble is, if anyone's watching this game, I don't know how far ahead of it we are, but he's making these sorts of big raises, 6 times the big blind with hands he's going to have to lay down if he's raised. And he does lay himself open to being, losing all the money he wins when he does pick up the blinds by being raised off. Things like King Queen, and earlier we saw Jack-9 suited.
Oops,
now
we've got a limp.
I don't think it's going to be limped when it gets
limping
round.
with the aces. Aha!
This is great because if Pool 8 bets, possibly 2 blinds call him, and now Pigeonhead's got all sorts of opportunities.
Oh, and he's a big raise as well. He's made it 5. That's a very big raise. 10 times the big blind.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It's a massive raise.
And Pigeon now doesn't need Duff and John Boyd to come in because Paul is building it.
Oh no! What's going on here?
What do you do, James? Do you call? Do you raise?
I think he's going to raise. He's going to thin the field. He doesn't want them all there.
He tips his aces, but he must thin the field. It's too dangerous.
Well, look how much is in the middle. He's got 50.
That's not going to thin it.
No. He could have made it 30 there.
And he's also tipped his aces anyway with the small raise, so he's got the worst of both worlds there. He's not thinned the field. He's not built the pot hugely, and he's revealed the strength of his hand. What hand is he going to min raise there, apart from with a huge pair, James?
Yeah.
Oh, he hates that flop.
He does hate that. He's got every reason to hate it. Oh my goodness. The only thing is, he might well have been left with the ace-king anyway.
Yeah,
as it happens.
It's true, the way it happens, yeah. But in fact, he may now get away from it, because with 3 players out there, he knows even if someone's not got ace-king for the straight, they might well have 2 pair.
Or they could have an up and down straight, obviously.
Yeah.
Just by having a king or a 9 in their hand.
I think he's got to let it go,
Oh
James.
no, look what's happened. The pair of 6s is bet. It's gone mad.
Tough. Trev, get out of it. I mean, where do you think you are? Oh, Trev's come in.
Oh dear me. Oh, he found a flush draw though.
Oh.
Anyone got a queen?
3 pair.
Anyone got a jack?
Pigeonheads.
Wowee. What a pot. That's a $212 pot in a 25-50 cent game.
I think they could have got away from that. I'm surprised Paul Aker.
I think there's quite a few mistakes there, Tom.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we have a look at this? Can we go back in time? There we go. Oh,
John Boy leads out. Pigeonhead, I think, can fold there, to be honest. I mean, he must raise or fold. There's no point in calling, because of the draws that are there if he is ahead.
I mean, first of all, John Boy's bet is really a bit crazy,
Yeah,
I think.
it's insane.
I mean, it's just crazy. He's got all these people after him. Everyone's to act after him now. I mean, this is just crazy.
There's so much strength has been shown.
Pigeonhead, he's now looking and he's thinking, oh my goodness.
I think he can fold. He's drawing to a gut shot, which is very possibly dead, or he's going to split. He must know he's behind.
You know what I think he thought there? He thought, I've got the middle pin straight, I've got a backdoor flush, and I've got my pair as well.
Pair schmear. I mean, he's
Okay.
drawing to a split.
His call was better than John Boy's bet, we'll put it that way.
And what was Trev doing in there?
I think Paul Lake was
pair.
correct to be there. But Trev, what was he doing in there? That was shocking as well, wasn't it? He's thinking, I've got a straight draw and I've got... Yeah. Funny old pot.
Funny old pot. Well, I think Paul Lake got the max. Well, we know he got the max. Unbelievable. Super. Well, it's nice to see action on Poker Night Live. So even if we find fault with the
It doesn't
player
matter,
players,
it's an interesting pot.
we love to see big pots. Brand7 says, hi guys, long-time watcher, pupil, first-time emailer. Delighted to have you coming out of the closet, Brand. I was playing a sit and go earlier today and was only around 20 minutes into the tourney, and I was on the big blind, which cost me 60 of my 1300 stack with 10-7 off. And the small blind limped in. Okay, so far so good. The flop came 4-5-6, and he checked, and I checked. Turn came 4. He bet 120, and I called due to the open-ended straight draw, and I felt he would have bet the flop if he'd had a 4. Maybe. He checked the river, which was a king, and I also checked, and he turned over deuce 8, and then accused me of being a bad player and said it was a horrible call on the turn. Can you please give me your opinion? Love the show. First of all, well done, Brand 7, for winning that pot. Do you think he played badly, James? He's not got the odds on the turn, but, you know...
Yes, it's actually, I'll tell you what, I'd like to have a little look at that one in the break, I think. Just, I would need a sort of quick review of that one.
OK, you're going to get a comprehensive answer from James after the break. Personally, I don't think you did anything terribly wrong, but we'll find out what Mr Browning thinks. A quick reminder now of the contact details so that you can send us your sit-and-go questions and other stuff. Here it is, text poker and your question to 84222. 84222 to me and James, or you can email us here, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. So if you also are a long-time watcher stroke pupil and hitherto a lurker, come forward boldly with your questions. Time for a short break. We'll see you very soon. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. Mr James Browning is happily ensconced in a sit-and-go because it's his turn to be in Beat the Presenter, though hopefully not beaten. So I'm going to communicate to you the information that he passed to me about the early email we had. A gentleman by the name of Brand, who flopped himself an up and down straight draw, checked it, and then called a bet on the turn, a pot-sized bet, in fact. And James's opinion, Brand, is that you should have bet the flop, because you've got a prime semi-bluffing opportunity there. You've got a decent hand, you've got the draw. Your opponent has shown considerable weakness before the flop by just completing. He's also checked you on the flop, so why not seize the initiative there and then? And on the turn, of course, when he bets at you, you don't quite know where you are, and you're forced into a passive position there. So if you were knowingly calling on the turn, thinking that your opponent might be bluffing and you might get another bet out of him on the river, all well and good. But he feels, and I feel, that you played it a little bit passively. But all well and good, he had nothing. And you should always ignore people who complain in the chat box about the way you play. Just ask yourself whether you play well or not. We've also got an email here from another Poker Night Live watcher. It's Gordon, and he's going to tell us about his rebuy experience. Hi, Doc and James. Further to your discussion on rebuy periods, etc. I played in a rebuy, $1, 380 entrants yesterday, where most of the opponents were very loose, to say the least. You don't say. I decided to play tight and take my opportunities when I was dealt a premium hand, even laying down Jack-Jack at one point to the crazy players. This style of play afforded me 14,000 chips at the end of the rebuy. Myself having not taken any rebuys with the chip average at 4,500, I was in a very healthy state for the freeze-out stage. I continued to play my tight style, getting myself to the final table in 7th chip place. At this point, I noticed that every other player tightened up, so I loosened up my play. The other players had obviously put me as a tight player, allowing me to steal pot after pot, around 4 pots around, and with blinds at 10,000, 5,000, took an overwhelming lead, and for the first time ever, won a rebuy tournament without having to make a single rebuy, and a very nice $280 profit. Well done, Gordon, well done. Delighted to hear it. I will say, however, I will somewhat pour fluids on your bonfire by saying that although it worked out very nicely for you, getting 14,000 chips there, given your tight style of play, in the end, has got an aspect of luck in it. Because if you're not getting your premium hands cracked in that kind of game, then in a sense you're being lucky by not being unlucky. And I really think against crazy players, if you're putting jacks down, you are throwing away expectation. Sure, you're reducing your variance, so you're going to get outdrawn more often or find yourself up against a genuinely better hand more often if you play the jacks. But I mean, against a crazy guy, you said it yourself, jacks are going to be ahead, so you've really got to play them. But well done. I suggest you loosen up a bit in the future, or else you might find yourself getting a bit frustrated there by waiting for those premium hands and getting them cracked. Lovely to hear it. Let's have a quick reminder then of the contact details of how to get in touch with me and James. Here they are. Text poker and your poker question to 84222. There it is. Or email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And a quick reminder of we've got a multi-table tourney going on tonight, and it's going to be 10 qualifiers for the Poker Bowl. So we'll be coming back to that later to catch the all-important bubble experience. 25 runners at the moment. But don't worry, we will give you all the thrills and spills of that crucial bubble period when it comes along. Now we're going to take ourselves down to a cash game. It's 50 cent $1. And slightly bigger stakes, and many of the same players here multi-tabling. There's Duff Miver, Johan Haren, Albus Fawkes, long-time player, Golden Jaguar also. In fact, all these players are regulars, to be honest. And danger here. And when I'm Nottingham gets raised, if he is raised, he's got to ask himself, how many hands would raise me there which are behind ace-jack? Would ace-10 raise me? Some players would, some wouldn't. And he can lay it down. He's out of position with all those reverse implied odds. There are many fewer hands that are worse than ace-jack that would raise that. And furthermore, don't forget that worse hands than ace-jack are going to play cautiously. So there's not all that much value to be had from them. And I'm Nottingham gets away from it. Well played. Queen 10 suited. There's been a limp. Does he fancy limping? Yes, he does. Why not? 3 players take a flop. Don't think 7-8 off. Monster though it is going to raise. And there's the up and downer. Different situation from the one we were talking about earlier with Brand 7 here, because it's a 3-player pot. There is a king on the board, and there was an early position caller. Golden Jaguar called under the gun, whereas in the example we had earlier, there was just the small blind completing before the flop, which looks much weaker. So I think Paul 8 is wise then not to semi-bluff that in case he gets raised by someone protecting a king. Turn, however, I think he could countenance a bet there because he could conceivably have been trap checking with a king, so he, Paul 8, could semi-bluff there. However, of course, he's only got one card to make his straight in. No joy. Now Duff with the 7-8 off. Oh, vote of no confidence in Mark Bannon there. Duff Miver not playing the 7-8 off. Under the gun. And in fairness, Mark himself might well lay it down there. Argyle Jack going for the implied odds. Pool 8 might fancy them. No, he's taken an aggressive stance rather than limping in. And he may well get a call. No, Argyle works out that his implied odds have shrunk considerably. And lays it down. Good race from Pool 8. Red Argyle's limp there for what it was, trying to see the flop cheap. Now it's I'm Not a Minger trying to limp in, and he's getting punished by a much stronger hand. 650 in the pot. Duff can let it go. I'm Not a Minger, does he fancy it? He knows really he's got to catch a 3 on the flop. Someone who's bet that strong before the flop is very likely to bet the flop if it's checked to him. So I'm Not a Minger knows the odds there. 7.5 to 1 against clicking a 3 on the flop. He's called and he's clicked. Now, let's see if he gets his implied odds. There was 6 in the pot. He put in 3. So he's only getting pot odds of 2 to 1. He needed 7.5 to 1. So he's got to make up the difference. And I think he's going to get it. Difficult to see how Name Exists can get away from this. It could be Ace-Queen, could be King-Queen, could be a strong flush draw. He does call. I think Name Exists would be hard pushed to get away from that one. And I'm Not a Minger gets all his implied odds and more. And there's a lesson in poker, really. You don't need to catch those sets on the flop too often to pay for the many times you call and then are pushed off it. So Name Exists gets his aces cracked. And he did nothing wrong. He bet it reasonably strong before the flop. He wanted one caller. He got one caller. And his opponent clicked. And the gut shot takes it down. It's an aggressive game, this. That's what we like to see. Plenty of chips on the table as well. Looks like everyone's bought in for the max. Johan Aaron pondering long and hard with Queen 5 off. I think you can bet it if you've got a tight conservative image, but that's not Johan Aaron's image, so wisely he lets it go. Picks up the jacks. Duff gonna steal here, I think. 3.5, 4. No, he's gone for the limp. Jack King offsuit, pretty slaggy limping hand. And he's got raised. I think he should let it go. Argyle certainly. There is a danger there that Johan Han is stealing. And I wonder if that's what's happened with Duff. He's just said, well, Johan Haren's read my limp as weak and reckons I can be pushed off it, so he could raise with anything here. Still a bit scary calling with King Jack off, though, because you don't quite know where you are. But it's worked out very nicely for him. He's caught the king. And I think he knows, statistically, he's going to be ahead more often than not against Johan. Johan can raise there with a range of hands. And now Duff's got the opportunity here to raise and take it, or call and give Johan a chance to try and bet at him again on the turn. And I'm sure that's why Duff has just flat called there. It wouldn't surprise me to see a check. Well, he's played this strangely, because by calling on the flop and then betting the turn, he's basically announced a very strong hand. So if he's going to protect his hand, he might as well protect it on the flop, because all that happened there is he gave Johan Haren a free card. Perhaps Duff was hoping that Johan had connected with the queen. But I think if he connected with the queen, he was probably going to bet it on the turn. And by checking, Duff also gets Johan Haren, gives him a chance to bet at him. No, maybe not a bad play. Maybe Johan Haren would in fact have checked the queen if Duff had checked to him on the flop, but would have called with it, assuming he caught it, of course, when Duff bet the turn. Two players take a flop, and there's a sniff of a chance of a split here, but as it stands, ace-queen comfortably ahead, and Albert's not interested in calling for that. Well, king-queen, they say, raises in the land of the unraised pot. Let's see what Duff does. If he just flat calls, the JB mantra obviously has an occasional hole or two in it when you've got a tricky player there, and Johan has decided he's ahead and raised it up. Duff flat calls, yeah, he knows the kind of player he's up against, and I wonder if he'll let this go. If Johan puts in a substantial bet, I think Duff might have to let it go. It's a gutsy play to play back with this. Johan could of course have ace-king as well as the pocket pair, or some sort of miracle catch. Duff has called. There's the flush draw for Johan. Will he play it strong? I don't think Duff can call a big bet from Johan. Yeah, it's nice bet there. Very nice. 2/3 of the pot. A lovely bet there. And I think when all's done and dusted, 2/3 of the pot, when you're looking quite strong, as a semi-bluff with a flush draw, I think that's good expectation. Duff limps, Argyle limps. Don't think pool 8 is going to punish them this time with 8-3. Don't think he can even play that hand. And we're going to have a three-way pot. Well, the 8 connected. As it stands though, everyone has missed that flop. And stands to take it down. Duff with just the gut shot. And he is indeed behind King Jack and folds. And just a limp there for Name Exists. 10 Jack offsuit. I think I'd be more inclined to limp with a suited Jack 10. If I'm going to play the offsuit one, I'm more inclined to raise it. Of course, Golden Jago can have a deuce. He's not paid much to see the flop. And that's going to take it down. Nice play from pool 8. In position, makes a positional raise. Now, King-Queen off, 8-9 suited, 8-10 suited. If Name Exists just limps, could have an interesting pot here. If he raises substantially, Duff and Johan out of position will be wise to fold. Well, look, the King 10 is raised and King-Queen folds, and there it is. He sees the initiative in poker. You can make a better hand fold, and that's what I'm Not a Minger has done. Well played. Imagine he just limped there. Imagine he'd been scared to raise. He limps. Then, of course, Name Exists comes in, probably for a limp. Now I'm Not a Minger's in a terrible situation. He's gone into a pot where he's dominated. He's got the King 10. Name Exists has got the King Queen. So he's in a terrible situation. By raising there, he actually pushes the King Queen out. But that's not the only good thing that can happen. By raising, if he gets called, he can now treat that flop with a certain amount of scepticism. He's not going to get too busy if he catches a king. He knows he might be dominated. King, Queen. Rules in the land of the unraised pot. What if there's two of them, though? What if there's two of them? The first to represent the big hand takes it down. That's what's going to happen here. I don't think I'm not a can call here. No, lets it go. There it is again. Seems to be the hand of the night, and in true king-queen style, dominated there by Golden Jaguar. And again, we're seeing a limp from the ace-queen. There's been a rash of ace-queen limping here, and if people are prepared to do that, suddenly you really don't know where you are with your queen-king. Normally, I think James's mantra is right. When it's unraised the pot, then you're ahead. But I guess these boys have heard that, and they've decided to play it deceptively, and they're just limping with their ace-queens. And yes, one of those paradoxical situations where, because Albus hasn't called his queen, he's okay. He bets and the ace-queen folds. So he didn't know it, but he wanted to miss there and take it with a bluff. Let's have a look at a few pre-flop folds then, because we have got a real action table over on the right-hand side. And that's interesting there, because apparently the action players are Duff and Johan. They're getting involved with each other. But they are both tight aggressive players, so it's actually Argyle Jack who's come in with those many limps, who's our loosest player. And this is the same statistics, looking the other way around, so it's the inverse of what we saw. Oh, Argyle takes a stand. It's all been checked. On the flop, he decides to bet the turn. Gets call from the flush draw, and now here's the power of the 5-2. He knows he can only take it with a bluff, so he's got the bluffing juices running. Well, now he knows that he's decided to let it go. He's obviously a one bluff man. He bluffed the turn, and having been called and have that scare card arriving on the river that Pool 8 might well have been drawing to, conceivably. He himself is going to get pushed off it, and Pool 8, in fact, unnecessarily bluffing there. He would have taken it just with a check, but he's not to know that, and I think he was wise and correct to bluff there. Ace-queen looking to take this one down. James Browning on my left, all in. And ace-queen doesn't take it down. Sixes have called. But can't really call there. I don't think it's a sound bet from Albus. I'm not a minger. May well be facing a better pocket pair, or Albus may well have connected the jack and lets it go. And what a great bluff that was by James Browning. I didn't know you ever bluffed under the gun like that, James.
Never.
Duff takes a stand, takes the blinds. Bread and butter sort of blind steal there in a seven-handed game. Why not? Ooh la la, it's pocket rockets. And where is the action going to come from? If it doesn't come from name exists, it's not coming from anywhere unless Duff plays that with a bit of joie de vivre. No interest whatsoever. Ah, well. Pool 8 wins the big blind and a small blind back. And there they are again. In the cut-off. I'm not a minger with the aces. Now this is great because he's limped so many times recently. I don't actually mind a limp here. Yeah, I don't like it. He's playing his hand honestly. He's limped with medium hands. And now he's raised with a big hand. Well, it's not very deceptive. However, he's got a call from Johan. I take it back. I'm not a minger has spotted who's on the big blind and decided that Johan Haren has got a proclivity for playing. And he's got to bet it here. Johan Haren might well be trapping with the queen. He might conceivably have a draw. And when there's the possibility that your opponent is willing to put chips into the pot, and also there's a draw on the board, you should bet it. You really only slow play where there's a real danger you're going to lose your opponent, and he's got no draw. And I'm not a minger. Picks up a pot, but not a big one. And James Browning all in again. Albus Forks, Deuce 4, not all that promising. And we'll take it down only with a check raise. No check raise forthcoming. And what a player Mr. Browning is. What a player. Extraordinary how he ekes value out of ace deuce. Some people would slow play it. No, James Browning comes in all guns firing. Credit to us all. Oh, a lip. 9-jack suited early position. You need to have your opponents truly terrified of you for that to be the right play. And he's got top pair. I'm not a minger. Catches bottom pair. Both of them with the same backdoor flush draw in spades. Time to bet, I think, pool 8. Again, it's not a monster hand. You need to protect it. And furthermore, your opponent might just decide that you're bluffing. He may come with you. And if he's going to come with you with a worse hand, then let him come with you and bet at him. Pool 8 loses him. That takes the pot down.
They say they hope you're going to tell me off.
Tell you off for what? Being a naughty boy?
Well, when you commentate on my game, that's what they say.
Well, all I've seen you is get your chips in with the best of it when you're called and considerably with the worst of it when they all fold. Playing a demon game, James.
I said you've got to wait for your commentary to find out. So we'll wait in anticipation.
John Boy Rebel. Yeah, I think he's worked out there that a bet looks slightly odd with that flop, so he's checked it. And what will he do if a bet comes his way? Argyle Jack can represent here, represent a pocket pair, and a reasonable one, and that's not all that believable. If he had the big pair, he'd probably play it a bit cuter, but it takes it down, because John Boy Rebel's got not much. And who is this going to? Three, two, suited. He's a bit of a player, John Boy. A lover of sixes. Takes it down. Very nice. Dare he continue? Yeah, he's not letting up on the pressure. Almost back up to 100. And I'm not a bigger bet with aces. Does he bet with ace king? 4 times the big blind? Is that the way it's going to go? I'm rubbing my crystal balls. And they say 4 times the big blind. It is. Oi, it's a call. It's a loose call. It is a loose call. Because if I'm not a minger's got a bigger pair, wow, how much bluffing chances has John Boy got? And he doesn't know. If I'm not a minger's got the ace king and the ace comes down, of course John Boy is miles behind, but if I'm not a minger's got a pocket pair, then the ace coming down would give John Boy a chance to push him off his hand. But the trouble is John Boy doesn't know which it is. And so he can't really know what's going on, whether the ace is present or absent. He's taken a view. He's taken a view here, and it's going to work, I'm sure, because that bet is perfectly consistent with a hand, pocket pair, for example, which is what he's got, or a jack. But I just wonder there whether the call pre-flop is going to make him money in the long run. Maybe he knows better than me, and in his experience against players like I'm Not a Minger, it does. But it's quite a lot to call when you might just have the wrong end of the implied odds. If the flop comes down with 3 low cards, or 2 undercards to his 8s, and an unscary overcard like a 10, he's got to play it. He's got to play it for quite a few chips, and on the occasions I'm Not a Minger's got a bigger pocket pair, John Boy's going to lose those chips. King is Gooch. Wow, now look at this. John Boy Rebel, I was about to say, is just pushing it with hands that are a bit marginal, but you see his table image is such that he's getting called by even more marginal hands. And takes some more chips off Duff Miver. James is having a whale of a time on this sit and go. I'm looking forward to finding out what the source of ribaldry is. Chupa. Sat down short stacked. Takes the pot. And Johan Haran finally getting a look in. John Boy let him put in his bet with his suited connectors. These two definitely action players here. So just a gut shot for John Boy Rebel. But his ace is good. And he doesn't lead out. Nor does Argyle Jack. He's going to be pleased with his flush draw that he's picked up, he thinks, for free there, but oh, what a liability it is. And John Boy's overbet the pot considerably there. Takes it down. Takes it down. He wasn't to know that he wanted Argyle in, drawing to a club flush draw. Ace Queen and Ace King. Albert's been very quiet. Yeah, and I thought this might be the moment where he says it's time for me to get back some of the blinds I've been paying, but a bit unfortunate that he's facing Ace King. His bet may save Argyle Jack, who may run for cover and get out of the way of the Ace King, which is going to steamroller him. Interesting. Now, what does John Boy do? Generally, I like a call here. And that's a strange bet indeed, because it gives someone a chance with something like a pair of tens, pair of jacks, a chance to raise him, push him off it. And I think really there, you want to either take the pot or see the flop cheaply with Ace King. So I don't understand why he's put in that small raise there. Well, I'll take it all back. It's a brilliant play because he's taken the pot down there, which is what I said he wanted to do, but he's taken it down with minimum risk. On that occasion, they had folding hands. Sometimes, of course, they'll have a big hand, aces, kings, what have you. And John Boy Rebel will find out that he's got a fold. Interesting. Now, these hands are aces and 7-8 offsuit, two best hands in Hold'em. Is Duff a convert? Is he convertible? Will you play this monster? My inclination would be no, and so is his. Aces are good. Yeah, puts in a bread and butter sort of bet. Gets a call from the jack, and he can milk Albus here for certainly another 2/3 of the pot bet, which is exactly what he's done. I love it. Albus trying to find out where he is. And Johan Haren doesn't read Albus Falks. For Jack 6, Jack 7, Jack 3, he's certain he's ahead. And he's hoping Albus will call him down now. Trading off his table image. And it's not a terrible bet, even if Albus folds, because if Albus doesn't call there, probably Johan's, the amount of action he was going to get on the river was limited anyway, and of course by letting Albus catch the river card, he does potentially give Albus a draw. So unless you're reasonably sure that you're going to get paid pretty well on the river, there's nothing wrong with putting the big bet on the turn, expecting your opponent probably to fold. Darth lets it go. Ace Jack suited takes that one down. Ace King versus eights. These two hands are equivalent in terms of their worth against a random hand. Ace King, however, of course, a much stronger hand in real full table hold'em scenarios. And takes that one down.
I'm back.
You're back from the land of sit and go.
Yes.
How was it?
Fast and furious.
Are you proud of your play, James?
It'll be nice to look at it again, because it'll be a good idea to suddenly sort of look at it retrospectively, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting to see if it looks different. So actually I'm looking forward to that, to see how some of the plays come across in the cold light of day, and with your expert eyes looking at them.
Well, it's coming after the break.
I know, but I'm looking forward to it. But they were a good crowd, and it was, as I said, fast and furious. I made an error, though. I should have gone to the game without a colour in it. We could have had the slower structure.
You picked a fast structure.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe variance is your friend, James.
Thank you.
I'm joking, of course, that's not true.
I've come from enough variance in Slovenia to do me for the rest of the year. Still, when in Rome, you've got to do as the Romans do. So you've just got to play according to the structure, haven't you? So it just produces different sorts of plays. But there was one amusing one, so I'm looking forward to you seeing that one.
Look, James, ever since you started banging on about this king-queen business, everyone limps with ace-queen to try and catch king-queen.
All right, so I've changed the course of poker.
Yeah, of history, in fact.
Oh, right, they're starting to do that, are they? Oh, right.
I've seen ace-queen limped every time so far, apart from Albus, who raised it.
However, don't think we're going to get the ace-kings limping.
No, although I was speaking to someone, TK's a big fan of ace-king limpage.
I don't mind the one I don't mind risking a limp with is ace-king suited.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is that it's, you're there with the nut flush draw, you're there with the nut possibilities, and of course it is a hand which can, because of those facts, can play very well against a lot of players. So that's why I don't mind it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, your logic is fine there if it's suited, but I mean, how much difference does it make? You're playing it for the ace-king aspects, and I don't think a call there is so marginally close to a raise in terms of value that the suitedness can make a difference.
No, but I mean, if you were just purely, it's just you gain on the flush side. If you do get the flush side, you do want company there because you want to get paid by as many people as possible. It doesn't play too badly. And then, if you slow play it, again, just like any of these hands which you don't raise before the flop with, as long as you're prepared to get away with them, if they have no connection, there's no problem. I don't mind, you can slow play any hand as long as you're capable of getting away from it. I think that's the main thing. But a lot of people just can't get away from it onto slow play. They still then sort of stay in the pot too long. Now, of course, this is a huge error they're making now.
Mm.
So if you haven't got that discipline to get away from a hand, don't slow play them before the flop. Just play them orthodox. But if you have got the discipline to get away from them, yes, you can experiment. And I'm an advocate of never playing hands the same all the time anyway. I just only play hands a certain percentage of the time. Basically, especially if I'm playing with some of the same players, I can't be an open book on my plays.
Sure.
So therefore, I won't always raise with aces. I won't always raise with kings. If I'm at a fresh table, I'll probably start off my life raising with them. But with regular opponents, I will try and vary my play. But I'll still be raising with them probably 80% of the time. I see the Hendon mob have moved ship, Dr. Tom.
They're with full tilt now.
Yes, they've gone with Phil Ivies and Chris Ferguson's of the world, which to me seems like a pretty good move. What do you reckon?
Well, it seems like quite a full ship now.
Yes. Goodness, how many players are on that site? It's incredible. They've got everyone. What a host of players. Eric Seidel, Lundgren, Jennifer Harman, Cloney Gowan, and Block, Andy Block. Amazing, isn't it? Eric Seidel?
Why haven't we been invited?
Probably just haven't come to England
they can't afford
fully
us.
yet.
Oh, right, they come to Hendon, but not
Not
beyond.
the rest of England, yes, that's it.
Well, it's the first place you go to when you arrive in London.
Yes, exactly, that's why they got picked.
I see our very own Barry the Bully Martin has come fifth in his own tournament. Surely there should be a steward's inquiry. Barry has taken fifth place in the £200, rather pound, pot limit Omaha at his own club.
Right.
Well done, Barry. Takes £1 grand.
Oh, and someone I know there, Owen Gard, who I know is an Omaha fan, he likes high-low. I see he's come second.
Kept going for the low. Well, he didn't win.
We'd better give the winner a shout, I think. Lee Kitchener won that one. What about the main event there? Because it's a very big tournament, the main event, Tom. Have you got any news on that?
That's right. No, I've got no news as yet.
Because it was quite a big tournament, I think. It was €5,000.
Yeah, anyone knows what's going on down there and has email contact, let us know who's in at the big comp at the Gut Shots and who's not. Back here, a couple of aces and those sixes once more. Limpage. And Duff probably going to limp in here. Hello, there's the flush draw for Ryan Nonaminger and the overcards. And he can conceivably represent a queen. Very important before you bet your draw that you just ask yourself, can I conceivably have a made hand here? Because if you can't, your opponents know you're bluffing. They know what you're doing. So when you are semi-bluffing, which is what you are doing when you're betting a draw, don't forget the bluff part of it has got to be credible. Because if the bluff aspect isn't credible, then you're better off checking and drawing cheaply to your draw. 2-1, he ain't getting 2-1 for his club. He can't be sure the ace is good. He's called anyway. And now, the particularly cunning thing to do here is, having missed one draw, bet another one. There's a jack of spades there, making a backdoor flush or a straight. Neither of them terribly likely, because the jack would have made a gut shot straight there. So yeah, the backdoor flush also being an unlikely holding for I'm Not a Minger. Perhaps wisely doesn't get too busy. John Boyd coming in with that big old hand deuce 3 suited. Duff having a think about it. And lets it go. 2-3 suited, takes it down. What a player. Now, there's Johan Haren flat call with ace-queen in the cut-off. Something tells me no. Ah, wow, John Boy's kicked off proceedings. Well, they've dominated Queen-Jack. Now facing I'm Not a Minger with ace-queen, has made its flush. And I'm Not a Minger is now dead. And gets away from it. And there's Albus Fawkes with the ace-queen. A bet in order, I think, 3.5, 4.
Yep, and the flop 6-6-5, no connection, but Albus has got position. Is he going to continue? He certainly does. He bets 9 and takes down the money.
Oh, Cowboys now. Twice. Look at this, James. 2 lots of Cowboys and an ace-queen suited in the mix.
Whoa, look at this. Of course, unbeknown to Duff, he's actually slightly better off than he would be against one pair of kings.
Yeah, he's about 2-1 to make his hand here, and he's in a 3-way pot, so he's not in terrible shape. Ace-queen, suited overcard to a pocket pair. Gives you around about 2-1 against, and he's caught it, and now he's home and dry. There's really not much that Ruskin and Chupa could do to get out of this. And there you go. And in that situation, really, they're all getting exactly equity from building a pot.
Yeah, and it's so the chances of 2 pairs of kings coming out there, so we're going to be getting on for about 50,000 to 1 or something.
Must be fixed.
48,000 or something. Albus Fawkes got the overpair. How does he feel? We should definitely find out. And he does. Bets $9. I'm trying to get some information on that big tournament, but I'm failing, Tom, I'm afraid.
Try the gut shot site. Oh, K-Rad Bob coming in with 8-5. Off suit there, what a player. But he's not caught. And why are people playing all this rubbish? Well, I suppose Albus Fawkes is in the big blind. So he's got his dominated 8-4 there. And Duff's going to take it down. Represents the ace on the button.
How's Duff been doing recently?
I don't know, to be honest.
You haven't...
We haven't seen that much of him. But he's doing all right here. He's got 160 bucks.
And it's a small raise here. Flat raise from K-Rad. And takes down the money. There's a big festival on in Blackpool, isn't it? Is that on as well this week?
The Bonanza.
Mm.
Last time I went to that, I was the Bonanza.
Were you the equity?
Yep. Bonanza for everyone else.
Yeah, actually, when I remember, because I remember some of your comments after that Blackpool trip. Didn't seem that it was your best.
No. Oh well.
Oh well. Well, John Boy, is he just going to check it? We'll find out. He does. And I'm not a minger. Look at a middle pin straight draw.
Backdoor flush.
Backdoor flush. But John Boy's got a real hand. He's got a pair of eights. Heads up. It's quite likely to be winning there, especially after a check. He's bet 3. And takes it down. Okay, not a lot out there really. And I don't think we'll even see a move from late position here.
John Boy Rebel. Well, lets it go.
Yep.
What a deceptive player he is. Super duper. Right, let's have a look at some emails. Got one here from Big Jace. Hi, Big Jace. Friend of yours?
No, but it's, I like the name. Big Jace.
Big Jace says, hi guys, great start to the show, he says. Some excellent points regarding rebuy tournament strategy from Dr. Rolls-Royce Tom. Oh, I came on a skateboarder.
Oh, now this was a comment from last night, I believe. We had a rather good email last night.
People talking about me behind my back.
We'll talk about this all.
What were they saying?
They were rather complimentary about you. I think they're going to send a copy through. We might even give it a rerun. It was very funny.
All right. I'm a winning player online.
Actually, Tom, I must say, just very quickly, because it just hit my mind. It's just one of those things. Rolls-Royce Tom. I must admit, I did quite like the tabloid humour this weekend. John Prescott went from 2 Jags to 2 Shags.
Yeah. Nation not so much disappointed as just unbelieving, I think.
Yes, what a result. What an outdraw for those poor girls.
Yeah. A bit political. Poker is essentially, he says, Big Jace, a zero-sum game. And with the house taking a small percentage, this means that worldwide more money is lost playing online poker than is won. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So who's losing the money? Is there a large proportion of long-term players out there who consistently lose money? If so, why do they carry on playing? Or is the majority of our profit trickling in, I'm sure you mean, which is what you write, which is why you mean it, from new players who start playing online and then after a few losing months decide it's not the game for them? I imagine the online poker community to be a pyramid of skill with a few people near the top, such as James Land Rover Browning, making huge amounts of profit, a larger amount of players such as myself making some extra pocket money, maybe halfway up, and then millions of people down the bottom who deposit $100, lose it all, and never play again. Do you think this is a realistic picture, Big Jace? Now, this is a question I've often pondered myself, and the only way to find out is to get a internet poker company to just spill the beans. You know, is it a few big losers, or is it a lot of small losers? I mean, how do we know? We just don't know.
Right. I believe that it's pretty good what he said. Actually, it's the percentage of winners online is probably about 25%.
That high? People who turn a profit?
That might be including very, very small wins.
Yeah.
So let's say break level and wins is probably about 25%.
We're not talking pros here, we're talking just people who make more money than they deposited.
Yes. So
I'm still surprised it's that high.
In a way I am, because I can sort of, I've had studied some of these figures quite closely.
Okay.
And I must admit it is a little bit scary, because when you do ask people, most people do say, oh yes, I do quite well, I win. And that doesn't quite tie in with what.
Yeah, but they say that if they play roulette, don't they? I mean,
yes, that's right. It is a tough game, but I think that our Poker Night live viewers certainly have more chance to be winners than other people, and by watching this show. So
it's a very interesting question, Big Jace. We're going to come back to that later in the show.
It is a great point, yes.
We've got to take a break now, unfortunately, because we deserve one. But afterwards, we've got James Browning playing a sit and go. Look forward to that. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. Well, we said we're going to show you James Browning's latest moves in the sit and go coming our way. Apparently there's a move he's particularly proud of or surprised about. Is that right, James?
I find amusing. We'll see if you do.
OK. Let's see if we can spot it. Let's have a look at some emails before we do that. We've got one here from Wuzzle, a.k.a. Donna, who says, hi, Dr. Tom. I'm a beginner at fixed limits, 5 cent, 10 cent poker. And I got Poker Tracker today. Wow, that's really committed you. Great news, that, Wazzle, Donna. The problem is my partner, who talked me into getting Poker Tracker, as he uses it himself, has now looked at my stats and is having a good laugh at my play, as I do not raise unless I have a high pair. Is there a way that I can password protect Poker Tracker? Great show as usual. Maybe you should password protect your boyfriend. I don't know about that one. I live alone, so I don't have anyone snoopy at my stats. Do you know about password
I'm not sure about password protection for Poker Tracker. It's quite amusing, though.
I think you should just tell him not to do it. I mean, this guy got no sense of privacy and decency.
Exactly, yeah. I'm not going to be looking in his pockets, are you?
So, sorry, Donna. I would just say have words with your boyfriend.
Yeah, in fact, well, just report to us every time he looks at your stats, and we'll just sort of, we'll tell him off on air. That's
In fact, send us his stats, and we'll have a look at those on air, and then we'll see if his play is all that it should be. Okay?
Tom, you've hit at it. Bullseye.
Wise man, well, that's yet to be determined, says, "Hi guys, fantastic show as ever. Could I just offer some support for Mark's 8-7? Well, he calls himself Wise Man, but we're already a bit sceptical here. I played," he says, "my first ever live game in a casino in Glasgow a few weeks ago. Was it the Riverboat? That's where I learned how to play poker myself."
I like the Riverboat.
I like the Riverboat too. They used to add so much money to the tournaments.
And they've got the restaurant upstairs. You could look down over into the casino.
Classy joint, the Riverboat.
And a good atmosphere.
Or was it the one in Sauchiehall Street? Or the Rotunda? So named because its buffet made you rotund eventually. I raised the pot. Wait a minute, he's got a... Let's go back to the start. He's in Glasgow a few weeks ago. He says, "I bet an 8-7 and the flop came down 9-10 jack. I raised the pot all the way down to the river and took down a really large pot against a set of jacks and a pair of jacks. I realised I was lucky, but the hand worked for me on that occasion as an inexperienced player against experienced players. Kind regards, Wise Man." Well, yep. Of course, when it comes down 9-10 jack, you do have to worry slightly about Queen King.
Yeah, I was going to say, good job Queen King wasn't there.
Yeah. But well done. And here's an email that came through yesterday, which was referred to or alluded to.
I was on last night, and I enjoyed it then, and I'd like to hear a rerun of it.
Well, we are Poker Night Live.
Especially in your dulcet tones.
We do
Tom.
occasionally do repeats. Here it is. Good evening, Beauty and the Beast. Who was the Beast then? You were Beauty, obviously.
The Beast was Michelle.
She's a beast when you outdraw her. Great show as usual, etc., etc. I missed what the analogy theme was at the start of the show, so I've done my own thing. I think these are really similes, but everyone watching will be too drunk to notice. So we'll call them analogies between poker players and cars. James would surely be a Land Rover, safe, reliable, the survivalist. Dr. Tom, the Rolls Royce, so smooth and quiet, but class. I'd like to disagree, but I can't. Mark, moving on, the Lada. Hits 78, crashes and burns. Nick the Hare W, my old Triumph Spitfire, going down the M6 in the 80s and lost the lid in a strong wind. Kyra, the Skoda, strong, foreign and improved beyond recognition. Cass, here we have to leave the automotive industry and go into aeronautics with the European Airbus. Looks simple, but lots going on under the bonnet. Malcolm, Ford Anglia. They don't make them like that anymore. Matt, the Trabant. Do you know what a Trabant is?
I think it was the car which was made in the East. I think it was a rather cheap car, actually.
OK, Matt, if you're watching, it's I've got the email address here. Barry, Mark III Cortina with dice and sunstrip reading Barry and Barry's Bird. That's slanderous, but probably true. Lindsay, the Clio, lots of vavoom, small, loud, common. That's a joke, he goes on to say.
Ooh.
Ooh. And finally, in a lovely black and white colour scheme, Michelle, the new Honda Civic Cabriolet. Looks better without the top, and I want one. Finally, a question about deal or no deal. Do you think all the contestants are fresh out of institutions? What do you think?
It was certainly entertaining. I saw it but for the first time yesterday, and it was quite entertaining, I have to admit.
OK, thanks a lot for that, Mr. Car Presenter analogy. It was so funny.
Did you enjoy it?
We're going to give you his... We don't have... Illy, his name is. Yeah, it's terrific. Terrific. I quite like the Rolls-Royce one. I might get some chips made up with that on or something. I don't know. We'll see. Quick reminder of the contact details for Poker Night Live. Here they are. You can text us. Text poker and your question to 84222. Or you can email us at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk.
If you want to cut down on the X's, you could have the Trabant chips.
Well, I don't know. I think that's probably that's Matt's scene. Right, there's no point delaying it. Let's have a look at the hilarious moves, not on the dance floor, but on the sit and go floor of James Browning. Here we are, Browning 007. He's on a mission. And is it to fold Queen 7? Yes, it is. So we've James has picked the fast structure table, because he probably thinks he has a bigger edge there.
No, actually, I picked the $30 tournament, and I actually just thought that was going to be the slower structure.
Sure, reasonable assumption.
And I didn't realise until I was in the tournament when you said, aha, you've got to pick it without a colour. Look, I found a hand.
Finally, you get a hand. This is the second hand of the comp, yeah?
He's made it 100, so he's done a big raise there.
Now, do you call or do you raise, James?
I did raise, actually, but I thought he might, I don't know.
Come along with you.
He might come along with me.
Yeah. First, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world if I just take the chips, because it'll actually give me 130.
And this is a funny sort of sit and go, because we've got good players on these, but generally on the first few round of a button on the sit and go, I think, goody, you know, someone's probably going to go with me for all his chips. Yeah. He lets it go.
So would you have done the same?
Absolutely. On this particular sit and go, I might have played it sly, because I know that the opposition tends to be much stronger on Poker Night Live. I might even have gone all in, James, representing that I was a nutter. But of course you can't do that, because they know you're not. Well, I think they know you're not.
No, they know I'm not. They know I'm rock solid and never ever bluff.
You're a Land Rover.
Exactly.
Well, you got a few chips.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not too bad because the blinds are only 10-20, so to actually have another 130 helps in a fast structure anyway. Gives me a little more time maybe to find something else. I still don't want to be losing too many chips in this first level. So I'd be interested to see some of these plays here because certainly the Hutch started to make quite a few moves, and there we go. Now we'll reveal what's going on. He's actually done a chirpy raise there. And he got called. Now, a pair of fours. 2 over cards. What does he think? Now he checks, so now he doesn't know where he is. And the Hutch bets.
Big bet too, he's over bet the pot. Or exactly bet the pot, rather.
Yeah, and it was a good bet. And that's a problem if, when you call with that pair of fours in this sit and go where you haven't got too much time, it's not like if you're in a cash game, in a no-limit cash game, if you've got a big stack of chips and your opponent's got a big stack of chips, you can even play heads up with a small pair because of the huge implied odds. You could catch someone with the big pair and maybe get all their chips. But in this tournament here, you're not going to feel very safe with a small pair unless you actually connect with it. And now if you're just prepared to let it go like that, really, he was trying to hit a 4, which is, you know, over 7 to 1 against, and more times than not he's just going to be passing when his opponent bets. So I really think he probably shouldn't have even been there with it.
That's right, and in the end he put down the best hand.
Yeah.
For the reasons you described, he didn't know where he was.
Yeah. So that's a problem with calling with those small pairs early on. Later on, maybe you're betting with a small pair, but that's a different thing. Okay, we've had a raise with ace-king, and it's been called by the jacks.
Tempted, James? Jack 10 you folded.
No, not tempted at all. Not one iota. Basically, I much prefer being a better than a caller.
Classic confrontation. Damo has worked it out. Don't blame him for trying it on
Would
the
you
flop.
have just called with the jacks, or would you have asked the question pre-flop?
Pre-flop?
Yes, when he's raised, you re-raise him.
Well, I'm going to do both
Okay.
on different times. I think both are acceptable. I suppose with a player who I feel I can read on the flop, I'm going to be more likely to call.
Right.
I don't want to give him a chance to get himself all in and deny me the ability to read him on the flop by raising him.
The problem is that by reading it with a pair of jacks, queens, kings and aces are all cards you don't like, which is a problem.
Well, sometimes, yeah, well, you're right. I mean, and you're going to see those around about half the time. I think it's very slightly less than half the time.
Yeah. So, okay, you've got position, and maybe the person will check, but...
Look at this. Two players flop the nut straight.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? 9, 10, jack, queen, king. Amazing.
But, free roll for Damo.
That's right, backdoor flush for Damo. That's what Tom means by free roll. And it's a raise from I'm a Fish, but who can blame him? Both wondering how to get the chips in. They celebrate, but think, oh my goodness, can't believe that. We've both got the same.
Amazing. Hello. Do you get busy with a 5-7 against the aces, James?
5-7, early stages.
Cut off? Suited?
Not interested.
You are a Land Rover.
Not interested at all. Am I? No one's tampered with the tape, have they?
Don't blame it on the tape. Don't blame it on the boogie.
Oh, jack king on the button. And aces, re-raises.
And time to kiss it goodbye, surely.
And you're right. Well, I wasn't too keen on 2-6.
I tried to nick a pot with that last time I played one of these sit and goes. But called raised by a pair of 10s, unfortunately.
Not too nice. But in your first level, did you try and nick with it? I hope not.
200, 20, 40, 40, 80. I think it was the second level.
Okay. My principle is still loath to be making too many moves in the early stages, just because not so much to gain. I'm a Fish. How does he play his ace 10?
Not. I mean, sometimes you make some bad moves, but...
Sorry?
You just said you're a Fish.
Oh.
I mean, we all have these sort of attacks of low self-esteem, but you're a great player, James. You really are. And it's bad to admit these sorts of things on live poker TV.
Ooh.
Foxy.
Wow. The Hutch made another move.
Dominated hand. I think he's going to bet it. Yes, he is now. His ghosts want to tangle out of position.
There he is. He's run into a better hand, and he's called there. And he's connected. Does he feel like he's winning?
280 in the pot. His ghost prepared to play it for all his chips.
Hutch has got a middle pin straight. Draw. A queen would give him Broadway.
He may think his ace is good.
Wow.
Which gives him 3 more outs.
Put the re-raise in there. How does Ghostbuster feel about this?
I think he might fold it, James. If he's of the not wanting to get involved school.
No, he just called it. But again, now he doesn't really know where he is. He checks. Does the Hutch follow it up?
He's worked it out. Ghost would bet if he had a hand to push out the draw.
Goodness me. Very attacking play by the Hutch there. No hand at all. Got the better hand to put it down. And that's a problem probably by the Ghostbuster early on, not finding out where he was.
I think on the flop, he knows he's deficient in information for the reasons you said, but he needs to make a decision then whether he's going to play this for all his chips.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he put his toe in, and then took it out again.
And that's a problem. If you sort of just half-heartedly play it, you just tend to fritter away money, possibly.
Nasty situation. But he gave the Hutch all the clues he needed to push him off it, which was he wasn't betting, he was calling. Ghostbuster was calling.
That's a weird case there where people can't understand it. In that case, of course, he'd have been far better off just passing in the first case with his second pair if he wasn't confident enough to play it.
Yeah.
Because he just saved money. Well, there's a real hand. Damo's got the ladies. Will Browning be tempted? It's going to cost him 120, and there's 220 in the middle.
You folded. Normally you go all in there, James. Is it because you're on TV?
Well, that looks a bit better. 10 Queen of Hearts. Look quite pretty.
I think you might be saved by a raise.
Oops. That 10 Queen looks quite ugly.
Yeah. Takes his
Beauty
fingers
faded
away
quickly.
from the till.
But Skitsy liked the look of his. Still, he was only against the one opponent, so...
James, you've flopped a gut shot and a flush draw there.
yeah, not too bad.
Don't think we're going to find out what it is. Hutch going to give Skits respect? No, because he's a bluffer. He thinks everyone else is bluffing. Oh, he's pushed him off it.
Incredible, isn't it? He's got... Wow, Hutch, you're just pushing everyone off your hands. Incredible.
Nice bet.
He's come in, decided to play very attacking poker.
The good thing about that bet is that if it gets a reply, I think he can put Skits on an ace and he can get away from it then. So Hutch finds out definitively where he is, or he takes the pot there and then, both of which are perfectly pleasant.
I was a little bit tempted there, I have to admit.
What did you fold, James? I didn't
I had
see.
10-8, but I just thought, it felt like Gemstar just limped. And I wasn't getting anything too much. I was contemplating that. I thought, no. It's not a great hand, and as it happens, it looks like I avoided trouble. But decided I was still okay. Didn't have to panic. Still had some play. A round was only costing 60. And Skits pops in a raise there. 3 times the big blind. The Hutch is connected with the 6. Problem now is as what's been happening, quite a lot of these beat the presenter ones. This is the fast structure one, and of course we're on the second level, and we've still got a full complement of players. So one realises that it's going to be with no players getting knocked out, everyone's getting squeezed. As the blinds rise. Oh, Tom, I think I do something with ace-9. I'm actually on the cut-off here.
You eyeing Gemstar's big blind?
Yeah. Now, I actually raise it. And the Hutch comes over the top, I believe.
Now what do you do? I mean, I wouldn't laugh in your face if you folded it, James, but I've got a feeling you're going to call. Oh, no, you fold.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in trouble. You don't know where you are.
Oh. And I'm pleased with the play, so I've raised it. I don't mind my raise there. I'm in the cut-off position. I hadn't been finding anything much. I thought, well, maybe I could just pop in a bet here. The blinds aren't massive, but I don't mind just creating a bit of action there, but I've put down the hand. But in course, by putting down to a raise there, I've actually confirmed that I'm playing solidly, basically, which later on might go in my favour.
If you decide to play like a maniac,
Well,
they won't read you for
Not
that.
quite like a maniac, but if I was to...
Maniacal tendencies. No, I like your raise there. I mean, the one place where, when someone's playing aggressive poker, loose aggressive poker, like Hutch certainly appears to be, the one place you try and get them is in the small blind, because they haven't had a chance to raise before you.
Yes.
They're not in the big blind and in a mood to defend their big blind. They're not on the button and looking to call for a positional play later, so you get them in the small blind.
I did. The one thing afterwards I looked at, and I was aware of where he was. I thought he's better there than in the big blind. I'd already looked at that. But then afterwards I thought, maybe, you know, because he was being so aggressive, which I could see, maybe I shouldn't have even tackled that play against him at that time.
Maybe you're right. But he had ace-jack.
Because he'd had more chips, that's why. He was chipped up, and I thought, well...
No, I think he'd have folded most hands. He'd have given you respect,
Yeah,
James.
he
He
actually,
just had a hand.
Yeah, I think so. But it did cross my mind because I thought, I wonder if he's made a move here. It's possible he'd made a move.
Sure.
Anyway, quite tight there, genuine hand. He collects. Well, this is disappointing now. We're up to 40-80. I don't like my hand on the big blind, and of course we see action from the Hutch. He's actually found a hand now, which is good for him because he's been making all these bets, and now he's found a real hand, King Kong. But I happily pass. Unfortunately, I've only got 8-3 now. Now I'm down to 800.
Oh well, 10 big blinds. Difficult sort of stack size, 10 big blinds.
It is.
It's a bit too big to go all in, but...
Each round is costing you 120. 5 rounds is 700 chips. Ghostbuster now makes a move. So my Queen 8, I'm not going to contemplate. Again, I'm probably looking to be a better rather than a caller. That's my, that's what's in my mind. So I'm going to be trying to look for an opportunity to bet.
And the thing is, with this size of stack, the trouble is, if you put in the pot size bet, someone comes over the top, you're facing 2-1 to call, and that's why it's such a difficult chip stack size to play. But if you go all in with it, then you're making a funny bet then, because you get called by a better hand, and you're out. So I find this a very difficult stack size to play 10 big blinds.
We'll have to see what happens.
Ah, you found a solution, James.
Well, maybe not, but we'll see.
An outdraw?
We'll see what happens.
Quite tight has got an attack with a Bananitis there. Takes it down. Nicely played. Quite tight, my aunt.
Ah.
Well, it's ace queen, James.
Yep. And I decide it's...
Play it fast or trap? Play it fast.
Just played very fast. In fact, I just go all in with it.
I don't mind that. You might get called by ace-jack.
And I don't want to get in a situation there where I put in 200 or 240, miss the flop, don't know where I am, etc., etc. And so I decide, well, I'm going to just show a bit of muscle and just... It's a pretty good hand for going all in with anyway. It plays well going to the 5 cards on the flop. I.e. you might hit your ace or queen on the river.
You see, the alternative play there, which is something we talked about earlier, and one of our viewers named as the fly trap, is that the danger there is that you don't pick up that... You need those blinds, but you don't pick up that much. And if you do get called, it's probably going to be by a better hand. And the one possible play is to limp and hope that King Jack, King Queen raises you, and then go to a showdown.
Yeah, it's this awkward amount of chips. The reason why I've done it is because I've got 800 chips and we've still got 7 players left. That is the problem.
I think that's why I might go for a limp re-raise.
Yeah, I'm happy to get to my... I'm happy to take that round of blinds. I actually want to see someone else die as well. I'm quite happy to get another player that thinned out of this field, which will increase my chances in the tournament anyway.
Though negligibly at this stage, I think, with 7 to 6.
Well, we've lost a player now.
Yeah, it doesn't get you any nearer the bubble, really.
But every time you take a player out, if you check your equity, I did a bit of work on this.
Yeah, it's tiny. Like 7 to 6, it's almost nothing.
But it's every player gone, your equity rises.
But the function that describes your equity increases with losing players suddenly leaps around the bubble, but very quickly drops off. Are you talking about the independent chip model here?
Yeah, I'm just talking basically about. I just did it with prize money, etc., and what you're actually worth at the start of the tournament, and then checking it through at each player as each player disappears. And I did it in relation to your chip stack, and it found, even though you let your chip stack go down, of course your equity still increases, and you ended up being in a better state than you were at the beginning of the tournament, etc., etc., etc. So losing a player does help.
I don't think it does, James, until you get very close to the bubble.
I'll have to show you some...
We'll have to talk about this later. Because James has got 10-6 off, and he's folded it.
Yep.
Extraordinary.
It's... I'm either going to play that... I'm not going to limp in with 10-6. Because I'll probably have to put it down to a raise. I can't afford to do that. Because it's, again, I'm at that sort of awkward amount of chips. So I'm either going to play it very fast or not at all. I'm not going to do a halfway house with it.
Yeah, I'm going to fold it for sure.
So, again, I'm looking to be betting. Because, again, see, the levels is now 81.60. So each round is costing me 240 now. So
you can just about let the button go past, but then you need to bet, don't you?
I'm really looking for an opening somewhere.
That's not it.
Don't do it.
No, and I think you can also be red there for not having a huge hand, which is a good reason to fold.
$602? I didn't notice that when I was playing. It's an amusing bet. I'll have to remember that one, Damo. Jack 9.
I fold. I think you're going to fold, aren't you, James?
Under the gun.
Oh, he's gone all in. Whoa. And it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You really didn't want to pay those blinds, did you?
No. I just thought I've got quite a lot of clout here still. 800, really someone's got to think. I've been very selective with my play. Under the gun, they've really got to think I've got a bit of a hand here.
I'd be sceptical myself, but if you think that they won't be, then it's a great play. But
Yeah.
I'd be happy to call you with a range of hands there.
Okay. Well, I thought that, you know, they haven't seen any weak hands from me, etc., etc. They see me pass to a re-raise. I'm under the gun. I'm known to be a solid player. And I felt that my bet would get some respect.
Strangely, I mean, it's worked there fine. I give you less respect under the gun than in mid-position, because sometimes you see players saying, well, now I really can't pay these blinds and be left with the stack I've got. I must pick up some blinds now. And I'm inclined to give them less respect.
Okay. I'm glad you weren't playing.
Well, I wouldn't have called you with ace two. I'd have let you have
So I got the better hands to pass.
Yeah, you did.
Ah.
What do you do now, Mr. Browning? Difficult decision. I think you've got to fold, haven't you?
I do fold, yes.
Because you don't want to be a caller, you want to be a better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And the buttons, I'm on the button next time anyway, which is quite nice. That's another thing, is I've actually just paid my blinds. So I'm quite happy to let it go, because I've got now a round to go. I might find a hand. And as it happens, I find one.
In it goes.
Well, no choice. The blinds are 81.60. I don't want to be putting 320 in and leaving myself with any decisions. It's unfortunately just the structure of the tournament. It's just, as far as I'm concerned, that is just the bet I've got to do there. Each round is costing me 240. I've got just over 3 rounds of play.
And in fact, you've only put in a 4 times the big blind raise anyway, so it's pretty standard from that point of view.
And it's got me back to over 1,000 again. Got 6 players. So
Minimum raise for me here.
The average is 1300.
And
Oh, with the aces, yes?
I'm hoping that the hutch will think that I've put in a minimum raise to beat to nick Gemstar's big blind, but I'm scared that hutch might come back at me. So I make it smaller. And the trouble is that it looked like Damo's got a strong hand and he wants to force hutch out, so he gave hutch a chance to get out of it.
Pair of fours.
Oh, he's got all in. And now that's 3 times in a relatively short space of time you've gone all in, James.
I know.
Your bluffing credit's running a bit low, isn't it?
I didn't enjoy this.
No, I was laughing at you fidgeting and squirming.
I didn't enjoy this because it felt like it had been...
James took up smoking in the space that people to fold to this.
But again, those blinds are coming round. I don't particularly... I'd rather be betting now than paying the blind.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've got it up to 1,000, of course, it's significant for everybody.
I'm going to fold those fours. It's interesting.
Sorry?
I'm going to fold the fours. They're just too small for me.
Yeah.
Do you play twos the same way? I've got a feeling you do.
I'll probably do in that case, yeah.
Makes no difference.
No. But ace four?
Yeah, I prefer fours.
No thanks. At least the fours is favourite against even ace king or whatever. So, and that's one of the hands will be calling me. So at least I will be favoured there. Plus, I'm likely to have extra money in the pot anyway, because the blinds aren't necessarily going to be the ones that are going to call me. So therefore I could be getting odds when I'm favourite. So it's actually not too bad. And what it's done is it's actually given me a bit of play again. Desperately want to try and catch a hand in the blind. No such luck.
It's interesting you say that because if you want to be a better rather than the caller, catching your hand in the blind means that you're going to be calling and take it to a showdown.
Okay, or maybe coming over the top.
Okay. Yes. Well, yeah, not much room for
There's
that.
There's not much room for that now, yeah.
Well, I can move there actually in this situation because the blinds now are such a big whack of Gemstar stack, and I'm playing with live suited cards. I'd have moved all in there.
On this one?
On the Queen 5.
I decide not to.
No, not your Jack Deuce, the suited Queen. I mean.
Okay. I don't like this because I've got the 2, and if I've got the guy with 965 there, maybe if he's got a semblance of a hand, he's got 160 in the middle, or the hutch for sure. Yeah. He's got chips, and he's my main worry. He might actually just decide to call me down, and now my Jack 2 is a bit shabby. I'm not sure how much fold equity I had there, even though I had position. It's just too obvious, the position, and I've got the guy who's been brave anyway. Oops.
Yeah, you've got to do it, James. Only 3 players behind you, and 480s worth in blinds coming around.
So the hutch there.
Is he going to push out the ace-jack? Is he going to save you, the hutch, with his call?
I think he does.
I've got a feeling he does, and Gemstar can let this go. Not least because of the bubble situation approaching. You're lucky, so-and-so. Let's have a look. Is the hutch saved you, James? Oh!
The hutch has saved me, but I'm favoured against the hutch.
Ah, you caught the 2 anyway, so you wanted Gemstar in.
Yeah, I'd have won more money if he'd called.
Yeah, oh well. Nice
But
one.
are you happy with my play there? Or?
I am, although it's worth pointing out to people who don't realise how close that is, that Queen Jack suited against Ace Deuce off is about 48%.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to move there. Absolutely no doubt about it. And ace is big.
And that's taken me to 2,500 now. In fact, gone to chip leader.
Where are you? Champion?
Which is quite amazing.
Look at this.
And how many showdowns?
Just that one, I think, wasn't it?
So that's my theory, my Grand National theory.
Oh, yeah.
About, as I've mentioned a few times now, but it's about if you took the Grand National and you took all the fences and you took all the horses, you could take the worst horse, and if you asked it to jump any one of the fences, it would be favourite to jump the fence. But of course, when you ask it to go around the whole course, there's probably only going to be about 10 survivors. So I think that in a tournament, the more times you go to the showdown, the harder it is to win the tournament, because you're giving yourself more fences to jump.
I guess so. The analogy slightly breaks down, because when you go to showdown in a tournament, you double your sack. Whereas when you're a horse and you jump a fence, you don't get longer legs.
No, but you can be 6-4 on, and the more times you've got to be 6-4 on, it's eventually you just, it's very difficult to keep on winning them.
Of course.
So in a tournament, basically, because you've only got one life, the least number of showdowns you have, the better. There's one fence you've got to jump, which is the last one. Okay, and so we're down to the bubble.
I think white tight is going to prevent you getting fruity with 3-8. James, that's my suspicion. It's going in here, isn't it?
Yes, you're right. And 3-8 decides to leave it to Damo.
Were you interested in getting fruity if it's folded to you?
I'm not certain. It was going to be probably not, because again, it's a whole package of what my fold equity is and then the likely equity of the hand. And I think probably because it's going to be the button for me next, I would like to see a player knocked out without me having to do anything.
Fair enough.
And that's what's happened, actually, funny enough, which is good. So that was a good risk-reward ratio, no risk and got rewarded, which is the perfect risk-reward ratio. Basically, in a sit and go, I like to aim for the top 3, and then after that, try and win it. So first of all, the target's for the top 3, but when you get to the top 3, the difference between third and second isn't too much, and then I'd like to try and win it. But good bet from the hutch, but I don't want to call. I still think I might just have some fold equity.
And now I think you must move with the queen.
Queen 6.
480 is good for me against a random hand.
Can't remember what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
So I ask him the question.
He's giving you the moody stare, but he's never going to call. Not with 8-9. Not quite so nice. 2 players after you, a bad kicker and a belligerent big blind. Did you let this go, James?
I let this go, yes. I just think I'd quite like these 2 to fight if possible, and because I don't like my 2 kicker. If I have a choice of a kicker, I do like it to be a bit better than the 2. Disappointing hand on the big blind.
Yeah, you're praying for a walk, but you're not going to get it, are you?
Not from the hutch. It hurt to pass.
I saw you sobbing gently, actually, and dabbing your eyes.
To pass.
But the blinds have doubled.
And here we are. Now I'd rather bet. King 8. I went out with it in Paris. Let's try it again. Very nice. Up against King 4.
Looking for a chop, though.
Hoping to win it.
Maybe not. You're on a low card. It's a low card. Well done.
And that takes me to chip leader again. Now, interesting one.
Do you press it? Explain your reasoning there, James, please.
Again, I'm hoping that Damo has a go at the hutch, and I know the hutch is going to fight him.
Yeah.
And the 9-jack, if I end up against both of them, isn't brilliant. And I was just hoping to leave the confrontation for them.
But then, as you say yourself, this is not...
Oh, watch this one. Watch this one.
James is dropping his pen in excitement.
I just call with 8-3.
Are you going to make a move on the flop?
And he's only got 380 left.
Yeah. I love this play. He's not going to fold now, but he might fold later.
Now? I fall asleep.
No, you're doing a bit of Shakespearean acting, James. Is my middle pair good enough to
Did you
bet?
like that one, Tom?
I loved it. I loved it. And you're absolutely right to that, because he must call pre-flop, but he might fold on the flop.
Yeah.
And you'd have split it otherwise.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played. I think, yeah, I mean, Folks watching this, because you're going to face the situation, it's not just James Browning who's dastardly enough to try this one. Anyone who calls against you pre-flop when you've got almost no chips, that's what they're going to be doing on the flop. Don't just call them. Don't believe them. Call them. Damn, it's probably a beginner, James. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Not in a beginner in a $30 tournament. I don't think. No, he hasn't played like a beginner. He's played fine. Look at that, King 7.
Yeah, what a player.
And he knew we were strangled on our Queen 3s.
And are you colluding with each other here to knock him out?
Yeah, we checked it down with each other.
Drat sabs.
Which is the correct technique, I think.
I think so. Especially when you've got no hand.
It was nothing in the chat box was said. We just did it. And I'm sure I'm going to attack here.
Yeah, I think it...
But this was critical.
It's not going to be a 2-pair on the board, is it, James? No.
No. He got me. Deuces never loses.
All in. You passed hand a bit like this a minute ago, but I don't think you're going to do it here, are you? Not with 1,000 in the middle. No, you gold him.
And that was a difference, because it looked to be different there. Now there's more money in the middle, and you hit the nail on the head, Tom. That's why I actually varied my play there. So well read by you. And I passed that. And I felt I had enough chips to pass it, because I was still chip leader when I passed it. So again, I was looking for a situation where I want to be a better than a caller. The Hutch has decided to make the move. And the Hutch survives.
It's an interesting three-way battle here.
Isn't it? It's quite a back and forward.
Blinds have gone up again. Look, 2,000.
But I've left that one because I think he's only got 480, so I'm going to let him fight him rather than me. So I think it's tactically right for me just to step aside.
Absolutely. There's so much luck in it now in terms of matchups.
But notice there's quite a few tactical decisions even in this three-way according to how many chips the player's got. Whereas certain people might say, oh, I'd raise with that anyway. It's not. You look to see what happens. Now I'm delighted here. I've ended up heads up and wallop. I'm just going to play it the same way and...
Ooh, James.
In quite nice shape.
Yeah, you're good. Double through.
Yeah, and that puts me a good chip leader. 5,900. I'm feeling quite chirpy. And that looks quite pleasant, doesn't it?
Not bad. Suited ace. Exciting stuff here.
I call with the A7, obviously. Oh, so close, yet so far. So, a wee bit unfortunate there. Had quite a nice position, especially after the flop.
I don't want to bet or a fold here.
Yeah, I think I decided to fold it. I don't like the hand, and I still have enough chips, 3,200 there. I think I've got enough just to put it down.
But can you put down the next hand, whatever it is?
Well, the problem now is, we'll see what he does. But now he's bet. Well, now we're talking. I can't put it down. I've only got. I've got 19. Sorry, I've got 1280 left.
You're putting in 2,000 to win 32. No, more than that.
No, there's going to be a total of 8,000, isn't
yeah,
it?
that's right, yeah.
So I'm getting 4 to 1 more money.
Yeah. But it's interesting then, given that you had to call that one.
You see that? I hit the 6 as well on the flop.
Ah, no good.
And then he made the straight.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I was ahead on the flop. But you agree with the call?
Yeah, I agree with the call, but I just think that because you were always going to... If you're going to call with 6-3 there... On the previous hand, you must have known that you were certainly going to call, and so it's not justifiable to lay down...
No, you don't know he's going to bet.
That's true. He might fold.
Yeah. You don't know he's going to bet.
That is the deciding thing.
That's the extra little bit I've got there.
But it's the Hutch, James.
it doesn't matter. He could get 3-2, whatever. He might want to play. So there's still that going for me as well. But the time before, this time I've actually got the odds because I'm getting over 3-1 my money. And I'm not going to be 3-1 against, probably. On average, I'm not. The time before, I've still got enough chips. I think I've got 3,000 odd. This is fine. I can... We don't know what's going to happen next. And maybe, if he just plays it passively, I can bet. Maybe he can put it down even. That's possible. Because all things can happen there. So, but the last one, I think I've got to put it in reluctantly with 6-3. But for some of our viewers there, they might say, goodness, how can you call with that? But it was purely just mathematical at the end there.
Well done, James.
So, any comments, Doctor?
I'm surprised to see that you're a little bit looser than me in terms of early position all-in raises.
No, Land Rover, solid, reliable.
Well, you've got terrific suspension. A bumpy ride there. It's always a bumpy ride with James.
Are you trying to say I was a maniac?
No, I wouldn't say you're a maniac. But I think you should maybe go and be a contestant on Deal or No Deal.
You think I'll go all the way?
Well, I don't know about that. Depends on Noel, I guess. But I think you played I was just interested to see slightly... I expect you to be slightly tighter than me in the mid-game, but you're slightly looser.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think it's because that structure is so fast. And I decided that with that structure being so fast that you have to just alter a little bit there. I've played them before there, and it is a terribly fast structure. And so I think you have to sometimes take the bull by the horns just a little bit earlier than I would normally like. But to me, it's dependent on how many players are left. Partly. But the thing is, because people tend to stay in, you've still got a lot of players even when the blind's at quite a high level. So, interesting.
Well done, Mr. Browning. Let's have a look at an email from Chris. He says, hey there, I was in a multi-table tourney recently, and I got down to the last 3 with a decent stack at about 25k and second chip lead when the short stack went all in. I just called, well, that's all you can do. Ah, I see what you mean, there's another player. Okay. You just called, and his bet, which was about 7k, I had ace-king. The chip leader re-raised another 10k. After a while, I decided to fold, having to put him on a big pair, and I had to hit only to find he also had ace-king. Okay. So you would have split the pot. My question is, was I right to do that? I think I was, because I won in the end. Yeah.
I don't think he is right. I think if he wants to play against the guy, he has to re-raise himself to isolate it. And then actually he'd have probably got the other guy to pass.
So he should have re-raised the short stack.
Yes, if he wants to play. It's a good hand, ace-king, three-handed. You can't expect... You should really expect that you're winning here. So now you want to isolate yourself, so you just got to re-raise and just push yourself all in here and probably chase out the other guy.
But let's say...
And you'd probably chase him out with the smaller pairs and stuff, all sorts.
And of course ace-king. But say by mistake you wrongly call when you should have raised. Then when the guy comes over, the big stack comes over the top, what do you do then?
Well, if you wrongly call, I think probably you are right to put it down, because ace-king in the end is not a made hand. And for me, ace-king is a better betting hand and raising hand than it is a calling hand. So I haven't quite looked at the maths of that closely enough, but in principle, I can quite often let ace-king, I can put it down. But I think you really missed an opportunity, and you should have isolated and re-raised. And
I think you're right. And also, what James said there about the maths, I mean, when you do face that situation, it ultimately is a mathematical question, because you can put the re-raising guy, you say you put him on a big pair, but he's probably going to do that with ace-king as well, because you're looking quite weak, maybe even with ace-queen. So you could, if you wanted to, sit down and with a pen and paper and work out what sorts of hands he could have, which you'd be ahead of, which you would be behind, and see if you had the odds there. I think you're probably right to fold it. Just one little point there, though, Chris. You say, was I right to do it? I think I was, because in the end I won. I mean, we should know now, if we watch Poker Night Live, that what happened is completely irrelevant. You might have won by getting lucky, you might not, but you can't justify that play by what happened on a few hands down the line.
A trial of one isn't really enough.
No. There you go, there's a scientist here and us coming out. We've got one more hour of Poker Night Live, Poker Night Live left for you, so we'll hope you'll join us for that. We've got the thrilling multi-table denouement, so we're going to see you in a very short time for more of that. Welcome back to Poker Night Live. So glad you could join us again. Well, we've got our Poker Bowl semi-finalists. There's going to be 10 of them. We don't yet know who they will be. We're going to join the MTT where there are 20 players left. So we've got to lose 10 so that 10 can go through. Let's go and have a look at it.
Exciting stuff.
So the last count, I think we had 202,000 chips in play. So the average stack is going to be about 20,000 chips is the average stack for those who qualify. So if that's how many chips you've got out the bubble, you're in great shape, because normally there's going to be a few very short stacks.
Yeah. So what was the total, did you say, Tom?
202,000 was what I've got from my sources.
Okay. And 3,500 is the short stack, apparently, Tom. So you'll be sweating it a bit now. Making Jam had nothing to sweat about there, however.
So with 20,000, the average stack at the bubble, and we're still 10 players away from it. I think Pustash with 24,000. Trying to play a sort of equilibrium game and just keep his chip stack at that size is not necessarily the best way to go. If he sees a situation where he's got a clear big advantage.
And I think that's good what he did there. He actually has got the power of a big stack behind him, but all he did was he did put a flat raise in. If the person wants to fight, he can get away from it. If he doesn't, he's just taken a few more chips. And I think that was a well-balanced play for that situation.
The ideal situation for Pustash is that he just keeps on that level, making those sorts of plays. But of course, sometimes it doesn't work out like that. People won't let you. They're attacking your blinds all the time. You're doubling them up. So there's no guarantee. I mean, that's sort of textbook way of winning or winning a seat in one of these things, is to get to a reasonable stack size here and then keep it there. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work out like that in the real world. So we'll see what happens to his stack.
Again, he's just done a flat raise. He's tried it again. Thank you very much. Takes it down.
Seems to be working with this opposition.
Yes. And I think he's right. I think he should stick to that. I don't think he needs actually to even limp in with this one. And we can see it's reason. I don't think he needed to do that. Now that is actually, to me, he's lost the plot a little on that one. Because those 300 were better on his stack there. He didn't have to play a speculative hand limping in there. He should have kept to that strategy. Flat raise, pass. Thank you very much. That's just perfect for him. That will get him the seat.
Whereas Cream has gone in here for a massive all-in. 12, 13 big blinds.
Mind you, the thing is, I don't blame him really, because it's 750 a round now, Tom.
It is now, yeah.
So
Just gone up.
That was quite a significant win for him. That's a real hand for John Boy with the ladies. Now, let's have a look what Pustash does here.
I think he's going to have to bet.
Yes, and he's done the same thing, flat raise, basically. He made it 1,000, but he's been called this time, and now he's had to
take a view.
Take a view, and he's taken the right view, and he's really quite comfortable here.
Nice if you can get it. Look at that. That's a huge walk for Cream Cage.
We've had a limp from... Oh, no, sorry, no, it's a big blind. Beg your pardon. From big blind, John Boy. It's a flat raise again from Pustash. Thank you very much. You got 750.
Easy money.
Will Tomcat there.
20 big blinds. He's trying Pustash's trick. He's in less position though to boss people around, being shorter stacked.
I thought we'd see the limp there. And I don't think he needs to limp.
No, he's throwing away the money he just won.
Yeah, I think that's a poor play again.
John Boy's got 16 big blinds.
He's not going to want to.
Got 22.
He's not going to want to call raises. He doesn't particularly know where he is. Every card's an overcard. Okay, he might win it, but he's going to have to take a decision here. Okay. He was against Making Jam, who didn't want to commit. John Boy raises. I think we must have 2 sevens and a 6. Flat raise from Will. Now, Gazza just calls. Now he bets. Ah. Two overcards. He thought, I'm going to ask the question now. I think he'll ask it again. Nope, he passes his ace. Awkward from there because maybe the amount of chips that Cream Cage has got there.
Ten jack suited. 12 big blinds, Making Jam decides not to.
Yep. And I think that's why Gazza didn't want to do anything with Cream Cage, in case he was just prepared to push those chips in. He's sitting at that sort of small stack stage, where suddenly the small stack suddenly says, oh, go on, I go all in then. So I think that's what he was nervous about before, when he didn't play with his ace-2 against him.
Here I make a bigger raise for Cream. I don't want Making Jam coming back at me, so I make a bigger raise with the ace-jack.
I think so, again, because of the amount of chips you got there.
Yeah. And yeah, John Boy didn't want to take those to a showdown. He said there with his 4 times big blind, give it to me now. And how strong a hand, James, do you need to want to take it to a showdown in this kind of comp at this level, at this stage in the proceedings?
Well, how many chips have I got, basically?
Well, let's say then, yeah, let's say you've got 20 big blinds.
Right, if I've got, so in that case... say
you're John Boy.
Okay, I've got 10,000 chips. Each round's going to cost me $750. Just have a look at this. Raise from the queens. So how many? Repeat.
How big a hand do you need to really want to take it to a showdown, to double up, to be really confident? Because we were talking earlier, you don't really need to double up because you're not trying to win the comp.
No.
But it's still useful if things go awry later. You know.
I don't mind. In this stage, I want to have. If I've got position, I'll be playing. If I've got position, I can put in a bet to see the flop.
No, that's not the question. The question is, what do you want to take to a show? I want to take aces to a showdown, even in this comp, not around the bubble, but at this stage. Obviously, in a tournament where you're trying to win the thing, you want to take aces to a showdown with all the chips in the middle. But I'm saying here in this comp, if you've got 20 big blinds, if you had the choice of taking a hand to a showdown, or picking up the blinds, say, or a small bet, how big would the hand have to
Right,
be?
I'm saying, but if I've got position, I'd still be looking to take a hand even above that, to say two pair or whatever to a showdown more, rather than I'm not particularly keen on taking one pair to a showdown.
But pre-flop, aces?
Not when I've got 20 big blinds.
So if
aces pre-flop, I don't mind that.
What about kings?
Okay, I don't mind that either. I mean, those I might actually play, though. I'll actually probably play those against an opponent and then even have a choice of seeing where I am on the flop as well.
I mean, that's interesting, because when it comes to general, ignoring this particular...
As I get down in chip, then I'll take a lot more to the showdown.
Okay, so you've got 20 big blinds, and the orthodoxy with aces is that if you can get all your chips in the middle and get called before the flop, that's the best thing you can do with aces, generally. Now here, you're saying in this comp is sufficiently different from a regular one that you might still rather play aces, you know, with a bit more sort of, oh, well, I might have to let them go it some way.
Yes, well, I don't quite know how I'm going to get someone to put all their chips in pre-flop. That's a
No, but this is a
do.
thought experiment. We're saying, what do you want to take to a showdown? Because that governs how you approach them when you first
I can't complain about that, because in this case, if I've only got 20 big blinds, for sure, if someone raised ahead of me, yes, I'll push all my chips in on top of them, and if it goes to a showdown, fine. So yes, I've got no problems with that with aces.
But queens, you're not all that keen on taking to a showdown?
No, I probably wouldn't.
What about in a regular tourney, say you're 10 places
off the bubble? If I've got less
bubble?
chips, though, then I will do it, because my time's running out.
Yeah, but let's say you've got 20 big blinds and it's a regular tourney, so you are looking to win it, basically, if possible. Do you want to take the queens to the showdown there?
It would make me more likely to, but again, it would depend on what the quality of the players were at the table and how easy it was for me to take chips down without even ever getting to a flop. Now, if I still think I can actually make quite a few bets where I get chips with not jumping one of the Grand National fences, I will go for that route.
Well, let's say that both in our putative thought experiment, both this kind of game and the other kind of game, which is a regular tourney, the quality of the opposition is the same. I'm just looking to see whether there is a crucial difference between the size of the hand you're prepared to take to a showdown. And I think for me it might be queens. I think I want to take them to a showdown in a regular tourney, but I might be a bit more circumspect in this.
I must admit that my whole thinking on tournaments has really swung round to I really want to reduce the number of showdowns I get to, generally. And that is something I've been practicing in tournaments a lot. My results since I've been doing that have been pretty consistent. And it's because, and even in tournaments where I don't get hands, I still seem to get to the latter stages or have chances, etc., etc. I really, really believe, the least in tournaments, the less showdowns, the better. I mean, I really feel it. It's just because fold equity is just so magnificent. Whenever you get people to pass, it's so fantastic that you've got those chips without having to risk that showdown.
Well, here we've got the aces. They've led out under the gun, and he's not going to get paid. But I wonder whether in his mind he wants to go to a showdown or not. We just don't know.
As I said, aces. Listen, that's you know, you're in a great situation. Listen, I hope I'm going to be aces against 2-7 offsuit or something. Yeah, obviously. I mean, there's lots of nice situations for it. But in fact, in play, you get even better situations, because if you're against two odd cards and they haven't hit the flop and you've got aces, of course you're an even bigger favourite, because they've got to run a runner to beat you.
And Cream here has decided that he can push Gazza off this, but he can't.
The interesting thing is, for me, it's an ever-changing situation. And what I try to do these days more than ever is to try and keep my finger on the pulse of how it's changing. So therefore, one moment I say, well, I'm not really looking for a showdown with this hand, but then the next minute you might see me, later on the tournament, you might see me pushing in with all sorts of funny hands. Again, probably not hoping for a showdown then, obviously. If I've got position, though, I'm more inclined to want to play a hand, because the position is so powerful in Hold'em that I want to actually rather than be all in with someone, I want to have the use of that position. And surely then I'll have a better idea of where I am in the pot by my opponent's actions. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this is a basic orthodoxy of Hold'em, but I'm interested in seeing, in the specific comparison between a regular tourney and this sort of flat structure payout, how much of a premium there is on not going to a showdown, when you don't need to accumulate chips in the same way that you need to in a regular tourney to win the thing.
No, it's an interesting topic. Well,
yeah, that's a case in point there. He is risking it all.
But probably risking nothing. And he's not risking a showdown. So
no, but by going all in with Ace King, he's risking a showdown for all his chips.
Yes, but it's not. But to me, it's not a showdown. That's yes, he is risking one. Yes, he's risking the showdown. But
yeah,
he's
risking it.
But he's avoided the showdown.
No, if he's raised a small amount and someone raises him, he throws his hand away wrongly or rightly, but he leaves himself the opportunity to put the hand down. But once he's put all his chips in the middle, he's now risked a showdown. He's got no possibility of avoiding that.
Oh no, he hasn't. But of course, that's quite good for an Ace King, because Ace Kings.
I agree,
yes.
But I'm just saying that people can play these games differently, and other people would say you would never do that with Ace King in this kind of comp, because a double through is not as useful as it is in a regular comp where you need the chips.
But he isn't that chipped up anyway, is he?
No, I think his play was all right.
So actually. I think his play. I would go with this, but I think there's nothing wrong with that play, because for him, can he really afford to make it a raise of 2,000? And now he's got a horrible situation when he's got about 7,000 left, and to get pushed off a hand where in fact he might have been winning becomes a blunder. It's an awkward situation, and I think I like what you're bringing up, and it really is gives us a lot of room for thought here to really chew it over. And I think what we have to do is we have to look at the course of our action and say, right, if I play the hand with this many chips...
Look at this, James. Here's another case in point. He's made a big risk here. He's gone all in. In fact, he got called by a worse hand. That's extraordinary. Queen Jack bets and Omen comes over the top. And he is playing this like he wants to win it, or at least he wants to accumulate a lot of chips now and then just sit on them. But he's certainly not looking for that kind of easy, slow,
no, I think,
slow increase that Koustash was enjoying.
This came as a shock for him. I think all he was because prior to this, where he was 9,000. He just realised he was a bit under pressure there, wasn't he?
Omen.
Prior to that hand.
Well, he didn't need to make the move he just made then.
No.
Koustash still trying to pursue the softly, and rather than keeping himself level, which is the general aim of this kind of strategy, he's slowly going up, because he's getting actually a huge amount of respect for his bets.
Yes, and I think that is because he's obviously got everyone covered, and there's people there now who are basically wanting to stay alive and say, well, he can kill me in one hit. So I think that's why they're giving him extra respect. They just don't want to tangle with him. And the guys there who are on 8,000 and 5,000, 4,000, they say, well, he might just take me on because he's still in reasonable shape even if he loses. So they're frightened of him, I think.
And we've got 16 players left now, 10 qualify, and everyone's looking at their chip stack and saying, now, have I got enough chips here for it to slowly go down, but not get so far down that the tournament won't be over by the time I become a real in danger of being bubbled? Gazza Louis makes the same. Yeah, perfectly reasonable there because of the blinds being so high.
Yeah, because the blind's now 4-8. Each round's costing him 1,200. He's only got 5,600. So he's got less than 5 rounds. So it's on Harrington's M. He's below 5. And basically, Harrington would say the only play there would be an all-in.
And any of these players, James, do you think if you had their chip stack, would you feel, okay, I'm just going to avoid confrontations because I'm going to get in the money as long as I don't do anything stupid?
Pustash.
And anyone else?
Yeah, Omen now.
See, not for me. As Omen here, this many places off the bubble, I'm still prepared to play.
I'm not playing very much. What position is he in the field? I bet he's in the top 4.
That's not the thing for me. It's because the difference between my stack and the other stacks is not huge, and we're still a long way off the bubble. We're still 6 men off the bubble. And by the time we get to the bubble, the average chip stack, of course, will have gone up. I'm going to play if I'm Omen here. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy, but I'm prepared to play.
Well, I'm playing selectively, and I'm going to play selectively, i.e. with the strength of my hand and picking the sort of opposition I want to play against.
Of course.
That's what I'm going to do. So my plays, I will play, but my play will be selective. And grey areas I will pass.
Sure, and I might do that in any sort of cash game or a sit and go in a multi-table tourney. But where I think I've got the best of it, and it's going to go to a showdown, and I'm comfortably ahead, say 2-1, I'm going to play there.
Right.
Whereas later on, nearer the bubble, I'll let it go.
Right. If I'm Omen and I'm against Swinger, I'm small blind against big blind, and I've got an above average hand there, I'll play, because he's not going to kill me.
Sure.
But if I win that, then I'll say, wow, that probably does just about get me there now. So I will look for those sort of situations.
Say you knew that you were going to a showdown against Making Jam, let's say, he's got 10, and you knew it was going to be 2-1 in your favour, would you take it? I would.
So that would mean 2 times out of 3 you'd have 27,000.
That's right, yeah.
And one time you'd only have 7,000, where you're really under pressure now with the blinds 4-8.
Yeah.
How much does that increase your chance of getting a seat, that extra 10? When I think already, because of your position in the tournament there, you're already a favourite to get a seat.
I mean, remember, the average chip stack...
If you're in the top 4... Well,
I
can't see where these chips are, though.
What the average top 4 is at the moment, everything will have changed. The average chip stack at the bubble will be 20,000. Now, Omen just then he had 17,000. There's a long time before the bubble. Anything could happen in that time.
There is, but there's people here who have to do something.
Yeah, and some of them will double up, and some of them will get knocked out.
Right.
But while they're doubling up and getting knocked out, I'm gradually... going down relative to everyone else and possibly going down in real terms.
So, for me, my barometer will be where I am.
But I don't understand that. It's where you've got to be relative to the bubble, which is the average chip stack.
No, not necessarily, because you don't know what the average... One guy might end up with all the chips.
He might, but you can expect a fairly
and therefore the average could be
distribution.
different. It can be different. And also you do get funny situations here when you get these sort of scrambling for seat type tournaments.
Sure, at the bubble, of course, things become very predictable. But what I'm saying is that if you were to rank the players here and their chip stack sizes, and you were then to compare that at the rank of the chip stack sizes at the bubble, there'd be very little relationship, and therefore, by implication, your stack size cannot be assumed to be anything like the stack size it will be at the bubble.
Well, I'd like to see the top 3 players now and see if they get through.
Who are they? See, it's Pustash, Omen, and...
Well, I don't know, we haven't seen the other table.
No, we've got the other table. We can see it, but actually it's Hoik Balls.
OK, so those are the top 4. So that was Pustash, Hoik at 20,000.
And Omen.
And Omen. 19,260. Yeah, the way it's spread out, there's not a... They are a little bit bunched together.
Down to 15 now.
They are a bit bunched together.
Should we have a look at the other table?
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Let's flip over to the other table.
And flip we do. This is the one with 7 on it, and we can see there, well, we'll check out. Our low stack on here is Snap It. In fact, he is the second lowest. Gaza Louis on the other table, 7,200. Snap It, 7,670. See, now I've got nothing wrong with Pustache's play there. He's on the button, against the blinds, both who are squeezed.
This is not a table, it's something you can see.
Oh, sorry, yes. Oh, no, table. I was looking at the table.
Commentating on.
I was commentating on the table, you can see. But it was a situation where if the big stack is on the button against a squeezed player, in fact, two rather squeezed players on the blinds, you have a chance to strangle them there because they are sort of hanging on by their fingertips a little bit.
Sure, these are plays appropriate to that particular
So that's
situation.
those are the ones I'd be looking for. That's what I mean by selective plays when I've got chips.
But my question still remains a pertinent one, because
Yes.
if, say you're going to pass up the 2-to-1 all-in situation, what you're saying, therefore, is that with a stack size that puts in third place currently, if you pass up those situations, you've still got a 2 in 3 chance of qualifying, and that's what I'm sceptical of. You know, if you're going to pass up any individual situation where you're going to win 2 times out of 3, you've got to reckon that even passing those up, you've got a 2 in 3 chance of qualifying, and I'm a bit sceptical.
Well, I think the top 3 in here do have that.
Really, even passing up those.
I expect 2 of these top 3 to get through.
So, but yeah, they may not for that reason. They may get through playing hands that you're saying that you will pass. We'll see.
Okay, it's difficult to...
I'm not sure that blind stealing and basically capitalising on your position is going to get you in the money 2 times out of 3. Because quite soon, these chip stacks, when people get knocked out, you won't be the big boy any longer.
I know when I've played satellites, I've actually on satellites, I should play them more often. I've got quite a high success rate on playing satellites, and I've found that I've actually been able to manipulate myself into the seats quite regularly with not playing too many hands.
Okay, that's a vindication for sure.
So, but it's happened quite a lot of times, and I've been aware of the situation, and I've looked for other people to have the encounters. And then being quite selective when I played, not really looking for stealing when I could steal, and not looking for the clashes. I prefer to have the all-in encounter against someone a small stack.
That's not the choices given you, James.
I know.
That's an easy decision to make.
Yes, I said, but that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
That's one of the things I really want to look for. So I'm not looking for the guy who's really going to hurt me when he beats me.
But if you're restricting yourself to getting in 2-to-1 favourite against a small stack, that's a very specific combination of happy circumstances.
So when you've got quite a reasonable stack, you've got more time to find this luxury situation, haven't you? You've got more time to find a situation where you can squeeze the guy in a small stack. You've got more time to find a few of these situations. It's just time, isn't it? Because chips are just time, basically, aren't they?
That's right, especially in this sort of tournament.
Yeah. But this is now... It's look at this table we're watching. It is very... There's nothing between them. Apart from Snap It and Muzmik, the others are sort of swapping places back and forward. So what has Hoik been doing? Not much.
Sitting around, pretty much, on the similar amount.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're on the same amount as you were before, you haven't been sitting around at all. You've been nicking blinds.
Of course, in this situation, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because the chip leaders actually don't mind the blinds going up so much because they now know it's make or break time for the lower stacks.
Yeah. What they want is the blinds, in fact, to go immediately to a huge amount,
Yeah.
so that everyone had to go all in,
And they've still got chips left.
and they've still got chips left, then they're
Exactly.
guaranteed.
So that principle carries through, doesn't it? So they say, well, I've still got enough clout that I can take down the odd blinds. Now let's play another round. I've got a free round. Let's play another round at this exorbitant taxation. And the small stacks say, no, no, I've only got 7,000. Don't do it. Don't put them up. Why do they always go up on me? Am I the marker? They wail. Here we are, snap it. He's on the big blind now. With 800 chips in the middle. A significant part of his stack.
Muzmik with the only person who he's got covered, trying to do a bit of bullying. And by his action here, we get an idea what Snappet's strategy is here, because that's a kind of touchstone hand.
I think Muzmik is playing the player here.
Yeah, or the strategy, yeah. Eight big blinds is what Snappet's got, and I think he's going to go all in here. I think he must.
Yes, he is.
Not going to get fancy here,
I'm sure he's going to commit.
regardless of who.
Here we
does
go.
what.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think he's right to do that.
And he's captured the blinds back again.
I mean, one of the reasons why I'm a bit suspicious of the waiting game when you're a long way off the bubble is that if everyone's playing the waiting game, where's your advantage? Near the bubble, of course, the advantage is that the short stacks
No, you've
get
done
knocked
it. You've
out.
asked it. That's
Yeah.
great. No, that's a perfect question. If everyone's playing the waiting game, then it favours the people who've got the chips.
Yeah, and my riposte is that when you're a long way off the bubble,
Yes.
because of the nature of variance and what hands people are getting that they can move with, by the time you get to the bubble, the chip distribution's changed massively anyway.
Well, not if you're playing a waiting game. Because
Well, no,
if
if everyone's playing the same game and there's a
as-
long time between now and the bubble,
Right.
and you have random variations in the hand situations people are in to move with and nick with, I mean, for example, you can't nick the blinds if someone's bet before you. Now, if that keeps happening, because it so happens that the guy before you keeps picking up a nice sort of queen-jack suited hand, that's exactly what produces a massive difference in the chip distributions between now and when it matters on the bubble.
I was imagining not too much action with a waiting game.
Well,
That's what I was...
when I say
So
waiting, they're nicking the blinds.
Okay, so, but what happens is, as these, if people generally are playing quite passively and waiting and being careful...
Not passively, standard.
Okay, standard
blind
play
picking.
then, okay. Well then as the blinds go up, it favours the people who've already got the chips, as we just said, because the taxation bites in as a bigger percentage of the lower stacks.
But as I say, if there is a fairly thin relationship between the chip distribution now and when it matters on the bubble,
yes.
then playing that game now on the assumption that you're going to have that advantage because you're going to be big chip stack around the bubble, there's no guarantee of that. If you don't take active steps to have the big stack at the bubble, there's no guarantee it's going to be you. And Omen, he's still on 18 grand. You can't see this in your lounges, but we can. But I mean, that's still less than the average chip stack at the bubble, and that should be on his mind.
All right, yes, yeah, okay. But still what I would be looking at is what the average chip stack actually is with the number of players.
Now, I think that's less relevant than you.
Right. To me, that is still one of the factors I look at for sure. Which is about 14,000. So I look at two things. I look at what the average is now. I look at what the price is per round. So the average now is about 14,400. Price per round is 1,200. I'd be looking for when they go up. And I would bear in mind what you're saying of what the average is going to be at the bubble, because I think that is also, I respect that that's a good thing to look at.
That's the point you're aiming for. That's where your strategy in this game is aimed at the bubble.
Yes, but it's third in my points.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's top of mind.
Right, it's third in mine because where I am now is relevant, because that gives me a better feel of how other people are feeling.
Of course. I mean, when you play poker, you play the situation that you're in, and
And I want to know how they're feeling with their amount of chips and how I'm feeling with mine. Well, if I've got myself above average chips, I've done well in this tournament already. You know, I'm doing okay. I'm above average, so I can't complain. There's obviously people worse off than me.
Still, no, we've lost a player on the other table, so we're now down to 14.
Yeah, that's what I worked it out. Well, it's nail-biting, isn't it?
The blinds have gone up, 501,000.
Yes, so that's 1,500 a round now.
And how close are we to the bubble? I still think we're a way off a meaningful bubble here. I don't see 4 people getting knocked out in a big frenzy of fluke hands.
Well, so we'll have a look. We've got Snap It, who's on 7,670. On the other table, we've got Creamed Cage on 6,900.
And Gazalou has gone on. Let's flick over quickly, because Gazalou has gone all in and he's going to get called, I think. Let's go to the other table.
Look at that, like clockwork we got there, fantastic.
The flush. So we've lost one.
And we've lost one.
Well, there's the hand we were talking about. Do you want to take queens to a showdown? Well, against a short stack, certainly, yeah.
Against the short stack,
Yeah.
selectively picking my opponents.
And against the big stack, would you have gone, James?
Not so keen, no.
I'd
I
have
don't.
gone.
You see, I don't. That's where the difference is. I want to pick my moments.
I'd have gone, for sure. That's very interesting, yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. I think it's just a question of which is the more profitable in the long run. It's so difficult to know what is the answer here.
It is. It's a fascinating subject, and it is a fascinating subject.
I mean, another player on, I might be different, but 4 off the bubble with an average chip stack.
I like to look around. I'll see the guys who are under pressure. They're the ones who got to make the things. Listen, the rest of us can just tick, 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 tick.
So who have we got now? We've got here we've got Cream with 6,000. We've got Snap It on 9 on the other table.
Yep.
Of course, Omen now is in great shape because he did get in exactly a lovely situation he wanted, but he was very fortunate to have the short stack go in against his queens. So let's look at someone else who's got about 18,000, say Thess. If you're playing one of these tournaments, for heaven's sake, make sure you've got all the tables open. So as James says, you're looking at who's going to go. Can you sneak into the money?
A great point, and I do that. If I'm in a satellite, I open up the tables for the remaining players because I want to see their situation and where they are in relation to the blinds. It's all critical. So I will be monitoring that in the latter stages all the time.
Yeah.
And I have passed some huge hands in satellites, I can tell you now.
Yeah.
Even when I've not been one of the top ones. So even when there's been 10 seats, and I've been like, maybe only 9th or wherever, I've still managed to pass down some very big hands because I've seen another confrontation. So I'm looking again to see if I can have a risk-reward ratio where I've got no risk, but still can be rewarded. Because when you capture those situations, they're worth an awful lot. Let them fight. Thank you very much. They might solve your problem for you.
Wilton Meat pays Omen at the end there, and Omen now, I'm certainly with you now, James, absolutely doesn't want to get involved with Poustache, or indeed anyone really who isn't a short stack. I think he's now relatively safe.
He can sleep.
Yeah, 31 big blinds here. I think he's okay.
Because he's got Cream Cage there, who's under terrible pressure. And on the other table, there's quite a few hovering around the 11. We've got Chupa 11, Nash and Nubis 11, 9.
Well, look, here's Poustache. He's bet there, not knowing what Omen's got and going to do. I mean, kings is huge. But I wonder whether jacks, with the big stack behind him there, Omen, whether he'd say, do I want to get involved with jacks?
What, against Pustash?
Well, Pustash leads out there.
I don't think Omen wants to clash with Pustash.
No, I'm saying Pustash led out not knowing.
Yeah. To me, I think the big stacks are crazy if they get in touch with the light.
Yeah, that's the one thing they've got to avoid. They just don't need to. And it doesn't matter if you're folding aces and you reckon your opponent's got queens. I mean, you just don't want to get involved.
I've seen some plays in a satellite, absolutely crazy. This guy, he was actually the second chip leader, and I forget, there was quite a lot of seats. And he's against the blind, he goes wham, all in, and the guy's got quite a few chips, the guy's passes, and he very proudly shows 9-2 off suit. Wonderful play that is, yeah. What a clever bluff. You've just found a way to not get a seat.
Let's go and look at Snap It. Snap It's all in.
Switching over. Look, they're like clockwork in this gallery, aren't they?
And Geordie thinking Snap It could move with all sorts of hands. I could knock him out, but at great risk to himself, and I think he's perfectly right to fold there.
Snap It's playing a shrewd game.
And in some ways this is a more interesting table, because on the other table we had short stacks and big stacks, and here we've got players of similar stacks, and we don't know which of these are going to drift down and become the bubble boys and which are going to drift up, but what strategy will they pursue to do that? Do you wait and hope someone else gets knocked out, or do you get yourself into a safe place where no one dares tangle with you?
And Gilberto throws away the ace-jack.
Hmm.
And I'd have done the same. I'd let those two fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I don't want to get involved. We can see if the jack, that's irrelevant. I'd let those two fight. And they are fighting. And Chupa's been wounded. 1,500 a round. He's only got 5 rounds left.
Well, middle pair in the situation. And who wants to get involved with the jacks here? 7,000, 1,000 in the middle. Stick it all in. I'm sure you're the same, James, here.
Yeah.
Ooh, very dangerous. Unfortunate there, no one decided to take that as a sign of weakness and come over the top, or just call and create a showdown on some future street on that hand. And Snap It again. Well, I think he might get called this time. What about you, James? Difficult here. Because it's not the first time.
How much? He's got 8,000. It's Gilberto, he won't like it.
But it's the second time this has happened. Snap It's taken his big blind. Yeah, he's let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's reasonable, but I still, yeah.
I'd let it go. I've got Chupa, Nash, Muzmik. I've got...
Who else?
Cream Cage.
Yeah, but
I've got Making Jam. I've got all those guys below
but
me.
Half of them get knocked out, half of them double up. They're not just going to wilt on the vine and go. I could end up being the small boy. And I think it's the failure to understand that some of those players are going to actually have you covered. Where are you going to be at the bubble? 13 players left.
He's got himself involved this time.
Yeah.
Well, that actually doesn't actually make sense. Because if he's prepared to get involved this time, he's actually won it. Because Geordie didn't want to play that time.
Yeah, Geordie's in trouble now.
Because if he was going to take a risk, he'd have better taken it against the small stack. If Snap It moves here, then Gilberto, Gilberto will play this one. But now he's going to just take the blinds.
And does he go all in? It's difficult to know which is a riskier player here. Going all in, not knowing what's behind you, or putting in a small bet and then take it to a flop.
I think the small bet, because they're not going to try and steal here. They're content. They really think they're going to, rightly or wrongly, they think they're going to get through, the ones with...
So you think Gilberto's 3,000 there was less risky than 20,000?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to make a play. I don't think Hoyk's going to make a play there. I think he's coming around to the button. I think he feels comfortable. He thinks he's getting through.
I think you're right. And I think that's a good point you've made there, is that you can read your opponent by knowing that they're playing a strategy based on their comfortable chip stack.
Yeah. So you don't need to, just in case you have, because he's only going to do it if he's really got a monster now. Yeah. And now you can actually get away from it, even with your queens.
I think you're right.
I know we're getting a bit short of time. There's just an email here from who was in the game with me. I'll just quickly read it out, Tom. Mm-hmm. It's from Damo. Hi, James. Thanks for the game and thanks for pointing out my mistakes. I'll take them all on board and hopefully it will make me a better player. I know I may have been out of my depth, but just wanted to give it a try. I've only been playing since February this year, so with that in mind, was my play that bad? I think the programme's great and keep up the good work. Many thanks. No, I think overall I thought you held your end up well, Dan. And since you've only been playing since February, I think you say, I think you're making great progress.
Not bad at all.
And just keep on watching, keep on learning, keep on playing, and I think you're on the right track. And it was good fun playing with you too, mate. We hope to. In fact, I'll be keeping a definite eye out for you when you're on the TV tables and be monitoring your progress, as I'm sure Dr. Tom will as well.
I look forward to playing with him. Oh, let's go over to the other table because Omen's all in with tuppence. Ah, no, it wasn't tuppence at all. It looked like tuppence. 25. So I didn't see the hand there, though. It did move all in, though. Making jam, the short stack, cream, and making jam both on 5 and 7. And it really is quite exciting at this stage. And Snap It, now not in bad shape with 10. He's
he's clawing his way back into contention.
Yeah, he's 4th bottom. And there are 19, 11, 12, 13 players left.
Yes, so he's...
A lot can happen. Let's go and see Snap It now. Because he's got ace-10.
Yep.
And let's see if... I think he's going to take this. I don't think anyone can play against him. Geordie will have to let it go. Unfortunately, we're not going to see the actual, the crucial bubble situation.
No. It's actually been really good to see, because these latter stages are very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We don't know who's going to win it. Let's just see this final hand, just in case there's a bloodbath. I can't see it happening.
Doesn't look like the ingredients for a bloodbath, Tom.
No, Nash gets...
Well, hang on, though. It's small against small. Nope.
No.
Oh, my goodness. Trippers.
That's it. Well, well done, lads. 10 of you get semi-final places in the Poker Bowl. 3 of you don't, unfortunately. But, of course, there is I think this is the last chance, actually. So
it is, yeah.
Sorry to hear it, but that's the way it is. We hope you've enjoyed watching Poker Night Live. It's been a fascinating and very interesting night for us, and we'll see you again very soon.
Good night.